I can hear you, by the way.
Ooh. And what is up? Welcome back. It is Friday night, and you're here with the Average Boys Podcast. It's your boy Crispy, and I am here with my favorite co-host, my favorite person in the world, Brian D. It's good to have you back. Welcome back, my dude. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic, sir. How about yourself, man?
Good, man. Good. It's been a fun week, man. I don't know if you saw. I got to run the show by myself last week. I was a little nervous, but I pulled through for us, dude. A lot of people hit me up, and they were like, "Hey, Chris, you did really good, man. I'm proud of you." And I was telling you this off screen, and I was like, you know what? Like, there was a part of me that I wanted to hit up our friends. I wanted to hit up Michael Betancourt or like David from the Collectors or Jeremy. I wanted to hit up one of the guys that's been on the show so that way I could at least have that person, that partner to kind of like help me bounce off ideas. But I kind of wanted to test myself jumping into 2023, and I wanted to see like if I had the potential to be able to run a show of our magnitude and our gravitas in the sense of length, and to see if I could kind of do it by myself. I think if it was like a 15-30 minute show or whatnot, I think it'd be all right. But knowing that we usually do like a 2-hour show to like a little bit lengthy, like I think that was where it was like I was like super nervous, and I was like, fuck, how am I going to do this for 2 hours? But I pulled through. And I even had to cut myself short at the end because I was willing to go like another like 25 minutes, bro. It was crazy. But I had a good time. But I'm glad you're back because of course, I missed you, and I want to know what 2023 was like for you, the first entry of the week, and talk to you about some of the stuff that we kind of talked about last week, which was like I wanted to get your information on, like, we had a really cool discussion with everybody about AI. Like, that was cool. We had some just really, really cool conversations across the board. But we got some cool things that we're going to be talking about this week. In the show also, a little bit later on, we're going to have our good friend Michael Betancourt jump in the conversation because he's going to help us learn about some really interesting drama going on in the Dungeons and Dragons world, which me, myself, I'm not really big on it. I know Brian, I think you said yourself, you're like, man, I don't know a lot about Dungeons and Dragons.
No, let's rephrase that. I know zero. About Dungeons and I'm not gonna act like, listen, I can fake my way through like comic books because like way more than me about that. But like I know my shit, and even now, like I'm still learning, and I'm reading and watching now, so like I'm catching up with you. But like Dungeons and Dragons, dude, I know absolutely nothing about. Oh, and by the way, before we continue, we need to address this. Like I just moved. And so my green screen is like all messed up with my camera. I don't know what's going on with that. Like we were like running late to get the show because of me.
Yeah.
Because of that.
No. I was doing.
But listen. This is all getting painted, already sanded, and all that stuff. Nice. So we're getting painted. So just bear with me, guys. So I'll have this whole room, this little section cut off. Right for you guys.
So like with your apartment, are you living like on the first floor, or like are you several floors up?
I kind of don't like living on the first floor if I do live in an apartment.
No, I get you.
This is the second floor, yeah.
Nice, very cool. And what's your view like during the day? Is it kind of nice? Is it like
my view during the day? We get a lot of sun. I have some big windows like in the bedroom and all that good stuff. So like I get a lot of sun. My last place that I was living at, I had horrible location and I got no sun or like, but that's that's way different over here. I like it actually.
Well, that's really cool. That's really, yeah, because I can see in the back window, I can see like some cars driving by and stuff, and I'm like, oh, badass, dude. Like, you look like you're kind of like
higher
level.
This. Yeah, no, this setup is pretty dope, though.
Very cool, very cool. Well, congratulations about moving in your new place. I'm glad everything went smooth, changing the walls around. You know, that's really cool. A whole new 23, 22, 23, new me, new stuff or whatever. New Year's resolution jazz. I think once you get to an age, there's no more resolution stuff, huh?
Yeah. I mean, what's a resolution? It's a promise that should have been there the entire.
Should have been there the entire time.
That should have been there last year. Yeah, exactly.
But I do have a new method in my thinking, which I've been watching this guy named Charlie Do. He's like this. He's like a investor, business artist, graphics designer that kind of gives people ideas, and this whole concept of being a little bit more proficient on what you do as a skill, and then carrying yourself in a stronger, more confident way really changes the aspect on how people look at you as a business person. So like in my area, being a graphics designer, it's still very nuanced for people to do that as a career move, like an actual like big career move. But I think standing my ground and allowing people to make mistakes and choosing other people in the business and let them go with somebody else who has another set of skills that don't acquire me, I think it's cool. I think it helps people learn and respect it as a community. And it's been working for me.
Listen, I don't want to start off on this foot, but that just reminded me, and my brain is just all over the place today. So just bear with me for a second.
Shoot, go ahead.
Andrew Tate. We need to revisit this conversation really quick.
That's wild.
What do you think? Do you think because I remember where your convictions lay, and I remember where your head was at. Mm-hmm. What do you think now?
Well, I mean, we're still not given enough information to know what's really truly going on. I mean, they're still picking and choosing what's being released in the media, but I still think it's one of those things like, as if it's something that is this guy, he said some stupid shit in the past. And I think what's catching him is like, he had made a comment, and I know this came up this past week, where he said, no, it's cool. Like the Romanian police, like I'll just walk in with a wad of money and I'll just buy it and I'll just walk right out. And it's like, the Romanian police are like, yo, bro, we hear you. And we're going to make it harder for you. If you want it to be protocol and you don't want us to be a little bit more stern or a little bit more understanding, like we can be, we can be direct. And I think the situation that he's playing with, like sometimes you just step on the wrong feet when you have a big mouth. That's kind of what it is. On all this stuff that's been going on, I don't know, there hasn't been enough of information that's been released, like the whole trafficking thing or anything like that.
So you think he's innocent?
No, because it's hard to understand, because I that's not my job. I don't have enough in front of me for variables. How much variable do we have?
Bro, we sit here and speculate all day, every day about everything, and you're telling me that you don't have an idea on where you lay on this? Well,
the idea would have to be, okay, what evidence has been given to us in the public that we know? Mm-hmm. What do you know that's out there that's like in evidence that they're using as in the case?
Testimony from women saying that he has abused them.
But those women have one of them's like hasn't been seen in 2 weeks, and they think that she's doing something in the US, like that she's what is it when seeking, what is it called? Fuck, I can't think of it. It's like when people cross the border seeking
asylum
seeking asylum in the United States, so that she doesn't have to be detained by the Roman officers or Romanian police.
Okay.
Like she's not around. And apparently that this is the same.
What the fuck does that have to do with her telling the truth or not about a statement?
Well, that's the thing. It's the same thing like here in the United States when a person gets sent to jail for a person who says that they were touched or raped or something. And then later on it comes out that the person was like, no, I made it up. The person had made me upset. That's a possibility. And I think that they're trying to not make that mistake, because it's very thin line. Like what happens if you arrest this guy and you do all this stuff and he is innocent? What does that make everyone look? It feeds his popularity. It feeds his message. It feeds his moment. In this moment, it's a battle. Like they have to make sure they're following protocol and they have all of their dots and lines, because if they make a mistake, they feed into this guy's madness. Do you get what I'm saying?
I know. I get what you're saying.
And I think that that's where they are trying to be like, Well, I think like it was like what 2015 or 2018 that he had been arrested for the same thing, or it was a rape charge or something like that. And they brought him in, and he was released like days after.
Like, who is this guy, yo? Like, I'm still like
I'm
enamored.
still confused. I don't know where he came from.
I didn't know who he was, but you sound like more of a fan than me. Like, you sound like you know more about him than I do. Like, I don't even know who this guy is.
I'm keeping up on the times of it.
So what do you know about him? Like, he was a what? What is? How is he famous?
So where my brain goes back to is I've only looked him up as far as he used to do kickboxing. Okay. Because of course, like in my job, when someone says, "Oh yeah, Jake Paul, dude, he's an awesome MMA fighter," then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna look up his shit, and then I'm gonna dictate if he's an awesome MMA fighter or not. So when I heard about this guy, I just heard he was like a pickup artist. That's what I kind of associated with, and I associated him as like a dude. And then, of course, yo, what's up, everybody in the comment section? Robert, David, George, what's up, my guys? Vince, what's up, my guys? Yo. How you guys doing, man? Good to see you guys on this Friday night. Thank you guys for being here. So I only researched as far back as the kickboxing essence. And then, of course, from there, you get to see
look at us starting with fucking Andrew Tate. This is crazy.
I know.
I'm sorry.
We don't even talk about this shit. We never talk about this.
That was like a total sidebar. Like, I had just been thinking about it. Like, what the fuck?
But I'm not going to lie. It's fucking entertaining.
It's fucking entertaining.
It's fucking
entertaining. I thought he's a YouTuber. See, this is all right. Okay, this is my thing about this guy, right? Depending on who you ask, the answer changes on how
dramatically
on what he is and where he came from. Nobody fucking knows. That to me is the story. Like, apparently he was a kickboxer that no one has ever seen a fucking fight, but apparently he's like a world champion.
He has a fuckload of fights.
Apparently.
How do you have that much of a record and no one's like ever heard of you?
So you're telling me that you're just gonna take his word for it that he's a kickboxer, although you've never seen. I've never seen one.
No, there's videos. There's videos.
Listen. I hear it in your voice. You want to show me a video. I don't want to see a fucking video.
Yeah,
I get it.
Not that great.
I got it. But what I'm saying is I've never seen a fucking video of this guy being such a great MMA fighter or kickboxer, whatever. Then like some people will tell you, oh, he started his own like porn website or whatever, and that's where the issues
OnlyFans or something like that.
And that's where like the issue started and all this good stuff. Like, depending on who you ask, a person is going to give you a different story on where he's from or like his background, his bio. It's weird, yo. And
the thing is like there's also, and I don't understand the context to it. There is a video of him when he was like 17, 18, looking super small, super skinny, real nerdy looking, and a chick literally like just like tells him that he's like trash and that she chose another guy over him or whatever. And then all of a sudden he turned into like a pickup artist, and I'm like, wait, like where the fuck was this video from? Like, is it like, it looked like a reality show? Like if he was on the one that's like they kick you off the island, or like The Bachelor.
Oh yeah, he was on that too, right? He was on one of those. Yeah, and again, that's another introduction to certain people. Like some people will say, "Oh, he's a reality star."
Yeah.
I have never seen this guy a day in my fucking life until recently, bro.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. Like, I wonder what his story was from that. Like, if those moments of him being a reality star, like, jumped him into being like
a pimp.
Yeah, or some weird sex trafficking weirdo, or like a man.
Listen, I don't know. I don't. Yeah, exactly. The Hustlers University.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know whether or not he did these allegations, but from watching the clips of the Hustler University shit, he is 1000% a pimp. Like, I don't know if you need a better description of a pimp, but like a new age, like modernized pimp, but that's what he was. That's what. But
you know what? Like, there's one thing that fascinates me, and it kind of trips me out, and it kind of like, it's a scary aspect. Is his father was apparently like, there's like some conspiracy that his dad used to work for like the CIA or the KGB or the Romanian FBI or some shit like that, because his dad was a very big thinker. Like, he was a grandmaster in chess, and he applied like those, like a lot of people believe if you're a really proper chess player and you're up there in the competition world,
you could become a pimp.
No, but you understand strategy. You understand how to strategically use people, and you know their games.
And manipulate
that's
people.
A scary thing, dude. If you take someone that's strategically knows people's strengths and powers and like knows how to like do that psychologically, you got a person with a lot of power, which is very scary. And that's kind of like one of the things that I'm kind of like, you know, he places his parts, like he knew about this. He posted it up in his social media. He talks about some like 3-strike law that people do where they try to cancel you and then arrest you and then kill you. And he puts this out there because it feeds the narrative that he knows the next direction in their plan. But
are you a fan of Andrew Tate? Do you subscribe to his preachings and what he believes in?
No. I'm not a fan of his like hustler shit. There are some things that he says in the sense of like how men need to be more mature. I do believe in that. I don't believe in the misogyny or whatever the thing is about him. Like fucking I don't even know how to say it, dude. That's how much I don't know about it. Like I'm telling you, like I don't really like I don't subscribe to all of that shit. I literally stay away from it.
Yeah.
But it's so hard, dude, because this guy's super entertaining, man. Like he's out there fucking doing his cigarettes and wine, and fucking people around him are just like they're freaking out. And they're badass people too. Like the Aiden guy, like they're funny fucking YouTube dumbasses. But like the moment you put them in his like environment, he's a whole other fucking character. He's almost like that one guy that's like, you know how I got these cars? I got the books in my library or what? Like he's one of those guys. But he takes it to like a level of like 100.
Listen,
it's wild. Dude.
Ever since he's gotten locked up, the Hustler University episodes have been coming out, and I'm sitting here and I'm watching what he's saying, and I said to myself, "Oh my God, he's teaching people how to be how to be pimps." And
you know what? I think that's what like when you watch these TikTok videos about dudes that randomly walk up to people on the street and they have like their girlfriends with them. And they'll be like, "Oh, hey, what's up, dude? You know, can I have your number?" And the guy's like, "Yo, that's my girlfriend." Like right in front of them. And it's like they don't care because they know that being with a microphone and a camera in front of someone allows them to get away from it. And they know that law, the person cannot hit them or attack them without there being some type of like situational awareness that they can get away with it. But I just think it's so fucking crazy, like the way it's changing people's thoughts and the way that they can act. The maturity thing is probably the most important thing. What's up, Triggs? How you doing, my guy? I think the maturity thing is super important.
Yeah.
But a lot of the other stuff, it's just smoke. I guess it's just because of the people he's kind of associated himself with that it allows him to think in that type of manner. Because, dude, you can't think like that like in a fucking, I don't know, man. That's fucking
weird. So he was charging $49.99 a month, and he had approximately 200,000 subscribers.
And I think it's jumped up in the last couple of weeks or months or something to 500,000. Like that's nuts, right?
Yo, we're doing something wrong, yo. We're doing something wrong.
We gotta.
Yo, you want to know the genius? You want to know what the genius part about that is that he's teaching people how to be. So let's say he's got 200,000 subscribers. Now you're saying it's about 500,000.
Yeah, it's apparently 500,000 now.
He's teaching people how to do something that is just not achievable for the average person. The average person cannot be a pimp. If that were the case, there'd be more pimps running around. Like it takes a specific individual to do that. And
the average
a lot of yo, dude, a lot of these people are getting ripped off. Like you can't teach someone how to be a pimp, bro. Like that's just, I don't think that's how that works. Like that's like born in you. That's like instilled in you from like a child. So basically he's talking to like a handful of people and the rest of them are just handing him money.
Yeah. It's kind of like it's a guy version of the OnlyFans girl where it's like, you know, you're paying because you feel that paying is going to automatically give you that value back. I don't understand that this guy's out there hustling them.
That is an ill ass.
Called Hustler University is because he's the actual hustler.
That is the illest. Honestly, that's like the illest.
And this goes back to what I've
ever
seen.
Like,
it's not the fact that he is a prominent human being. He's not
$50 a month,
but he's making it to where he understands all of his variables and he's putting them into work as a chess player to make him that money. So like what he was doing is you know what he makes people do when they join that shit is that when he joins, you have to post up his advertisements on your social media. Like, can you imagine that shit? Like, can you imagine us, the Average Boys podcast, being like, yo, if you watch us, you have to put up our shit on your Facebook. Like, that would be using that as a valuable situation. Like, yes, that puts him in. That's how he was able to get out there so fast. That was the strategy business-wise that he used to get out there, that he got everybody talking about him. It's because 250,000 people at that moment had to put it on their social media that he was out there doing amazing things.
That is wild. 250,000. I didn't realize he was that popular because he's huge. He's huge. And honestly, I like to stay, abreast on things that are happening on YouTube and the culture. This guy came out of nowhere. Little did I know that before I even knew of him, he had over 200,000 people subscribing to his web-based,
his webinars or whatever it is that he's
university.
I still don't understand what it is that he does in the sense of business like that. Like I always assumed that he was a guy teaching guys to be a pickup artist. Like we knew that was a big thing back 2012 through 2015. There was people out there trying to teach that psychology on how to pick up girls. There was videos, there was webinars, there was all this stuff for it. And I think he was a part of that. But now apparently it's changed to where he's trying to teach people on how to use social media and to become a bigger influencer and to do all of this stuff. Right. Okay. Which I mean, I get it. There has to be a change in your content to be bigger, right? To go with the most algorithmic thing.
I mean, there's only but so much information about a pimp you can give somebody. It's like, right. All right, bro, you got it or you don't.
No, but that's the thing is he also then lays into the idea that like the Jordan Peterson act, where you look at Jordan Peterson and you say, you know what, there are some things that Jordan Peterson does that he can teach young men to be better men. But he's like an older, stern, conservative father where Andrew Tate tries to do the same thing, but he's like that one uncle that tells you he's going to be in the NFL one day, but he just plays flag football on the weekend. You know what I mean? Like that's the difference between these two gentlemen. Like I get it. Andrew Tate can say out of his entire lifetime, 20 to 30 things that make sense to a man. But like there's a bunch of other shit past those 30 things that he said that spews ignorance. And
I think that's my only problem with people that take
too serious.
No, but just like to take the divisive route. Because listen, a broken clock is right twice a day. Like if you talk long enough, you'll eventually, no matter how much ignorant shit you say, if you talk long enough, you're going to say something that someone's going to agree with,
Yeah.
So he basically made a career out of that. He made a career out of just consistently talking about whatever the fucking topic is and getting enough of those points where somebody's like, oh, well, he's got a point there, that he made a fucking boatload of fucking money and made him the fucking dude. This is crazy.
It's a weird story if you break it down, because even like that, like I think the most famous of the reality television shows was probably Jersey Shore. And you look at all the people from Jersey Shore and they're just normal fucking people. None of them are millionaires like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a crazy fucking story overall. Elizabeth says, I hope Logan Paul and Tate fight in a venue. I kind of feel like it's probably going to be Jake that takes the fight, not Logan. Logan right now is dealing with a bunch of shit with that cryptocurrency business scam thing and that other stuff that he's dealing with. I'm not really familiar, but we'll probably talk about it next week once it kind of gets all flushed out.
Who would you take in that fight, yo?
Over Jake Paul and Tate? Jake Paul. I think Tate's kind
of
he's a lot older. He's more stern. He's strong too, and he's accurate as fuck with his right hand. But if you go back and watch his fights, the difference between the different style that Tate fights with is he fights more of a karate taekwondo-ish fighter rather than a Kyokushin Japanese karate guy, which is like the closer to Muay Thai kickboxing. where Taekwondo is very fast and fluent and spinny and moving. So if you ever watch his recent videos, you'll see him like dodging really heavy. And that kind of movement is good, but it doesn't work as much in the MMA and kickboxing world anymore.
Yo, I'm sorry. I'm not handing $50 to a guy that I think can lose to Jake Paul in a fist fight. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's no disrespect. I mean, Jake Paul, for whatever he's worth and whatever way he talks about, he's a very weird guy. But I mean, the guys both can fight. They can throw down. It'd be an interesting fight to watch. It's not anything in the sense of like Mayweather or Pacquiao, but like it's an entertaining fight nonetheless.
True.
Yo, I got Michael Betancourt in the green. He's here in the base. I'm gonna bring.
Oh, we're good to go. I get my man in here, bro.
We're still gonna talk stuff, so we still have things to talk about. Because
yo, dude, before we even get
interesting things too.
Listen, I mean, Mike's gonna get his nerd shit out the way. I'm gonna get my nerd shit out the way.
Mike,
listen,
what's up, brother? How you doing?
Doing all right. What's going on, guys?
Yo.
Good. How you doing, man? You good?
Yeah, I mean, sleepy as always, but when am I not tired at this point, right?
Okay, so right now the conversation, what we've been talking about is it's very off subject. It's very off subject, but Brian brought up a conversation because it's become a little bit more worldly, and it's kind of coming off of people's mind is like the thing about the Tate guy, Andrew Tate, and his brother Tristan Tate, them being arrested in Romania. First off, Brian asked probably one of the most important questions that a lot of people need to ask is like, but who are these guys? Like, where do they come from? Like, what are they? Like, I get that they're like hustlers and they fly in planes and they drink a lot of shit, but who are they? Like, where do they come from? Where did their business start? I know Elon Musk started off dropping I don't know, $5 million into like profiting into some business, but the Tate brothers, I have no idea where or what it originates from. Is that true though? Casino moguls? I
told you, depending on who you ask, it's
a different story.
It's a different fucking
so here's
story.
The reality of the Tate brothers, and it takes a lot of effort.
Wait, Mike. Before you answer this, are you subscribed to the Hustlers University? Let me know. Are you handing this man $50 a month?
Fuck no.
All right.
Yeah, $50 a month.
I'm subscribed to Amazon at this point. Jesus.
That's so fucking funny. That's funny as fuck, dude.
The Tate brothers are alpha dude bros that have convinced you, or at least convinced the general audience that follows them, that they know what it means to be a real man. So they have all these mini side hustles that really equate to pyramid schemes. They're multi-level marketing, where, hey, you bring somebody on board, make them buy whatever vitamin is to make you a real strong dude, and then, hey, join this Hustlers University, and they'll teach you how to be a real man and get all the chicks. And they live off this lifestyle of false pretenses, and it's really annoying. It takes a lot of effort for me to listen, because in my field in public relations, I have to pay attention to what audiences pay attention to, and it gets frustrating when I see young men, or hell, guys that are older than I am, prescribing to the idea, hey, you know what? These guys work every day. They hustle all the time. It's like, no, they're not. They lie to you.
What do they hustle at?
Anything. It's like, you're the dumbass that's dropping $50 a month plus buying their merchandise so they can go live somewhere where the taxes aren't being paid and traffic young ladies, because that's what they got arrested for human trafficking.
Yeah, and we were talking about that too.
Levels of pieces of shit that could exist.
Yeah, and what are you getting for that? What are you getting for that $50? Like, you're handing them, you're sending them $50, and what are you getting in return for service? You're getting someone to teach you how to become a pimp, but you're not a fucking pimp. Like,
yeah,
you're not a fucking pimp.
They're basically giving you what BuzzFeed made very popular about 6 or 7 years ago, the top 10 lists. So they give you these top 10 skills that are basic communication skills. I could teach those skills. If I wanted to be a real bastard, I say, you know what, for $45 a month, come to Michael Betancourt's masterclass of communication. And
that's what I kind of figured that it was.
Somebody. And that's what it is. It's just basic skills.
They're just like weird webinars on how to like read the algorithm and go from there kind of shit. But then again, it's like I was saying, like this guy, his father was a real big chess guy and kind of embedded him with understanding how to play chess. And that part of his life and his understanding, I respect, because chess players, you have to know strategy. You got to know war. You got to know how to use your pieces correctly to win.
Because that's where guys like this get away with what they're doing. because they don't have credibility themselves. They take their daddy and mommy's credibility, their daddy and mommy's education, their daddy and their mommy's money, and they make you think that they're these master strategists. They're these persuasive geniuses, gods among men, banging every woman that's out there, and they're not. They have just painted a pretty picture, and that's.
I think they've just kind of fabricated this weird value to themselves, but the idea of what skill they actually have is not a skill. That's something for mankind, right? Which is like, you look at Elon Musk, there's people that hate him or disagree with him, but he's trying to take humankind to space. He's trying to push technology to a whole new level to help humankind.
So
this person
here's
is a good kickboxer.
Musk also. So Musk accomplished nothing.
Well, he's not an engineer.
All the things Musk has belong to other people.
Yeah.
Tesla belonged to somebody else before he bought it.
I think there's a genius in that, though. I would like to listen. I agree with you, Mike. I don't think he's invented anything, but I think there is a genius in capitalizing off of that. Some of the most revered people of all time didn't create what they probably are known to create. Like,
I gotta say that every time Brian and I are on, he finds one topic that gets me heated immediately. Before I got on, I was like, I'm real tired. I don't know how much energy
we don't do that. We don't do that. We don't do that tired shit here, bro. I'm gonna poke. Listen, I'm gonna poke until I get a vein or something like that, bro. We're gonna
awesome,
get something. Yo.
Yeah. So
no, believe me, Mike, it wasn't even funny because I didn't even know that was gonna come up. We have like all these topics. We were like, I didn't even know this Andrew Tate guy was gonna come up in the conversation. We mentioned him like once last week or like 2 weeks ago, and that was it. I was like, but it was so weird because Brian brought it up. I'm the one that brought it up the last time, I think, and you were like, "Nah, fuck that guy."
Yo,
it's interesting.
I have just been watching since that conversation. I have just been glued to this story. Like,
stupidity of it.
What the fuck am I watching? Like, I have no idea why this is. First off, why this is such big news? Like, who the fuck is Andrew Tate? Like, why is this news that's covering all platforms? Like, I don't understand this.
Let me ask, just to put this out there, because I think this is the trap, or this is what catches people. Have there been anything that you've seen where it's a conversation that he's having and he does say something that you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I don't disagree with that. Like,
again, a broken clock is right 2 times a day, bro. Like, again, if you talk long enough, if you do nothing but talk for a living, you're going to eventually say some shit that is going to resonate with people. Like, that's just what it is.
So that Brian said, that's the law of average. It's statistics at that point. At some point, you're going to touch on something that somebody believes, and that's where he's getting his money from.
That's where he's making his money.
Yep.
Yeah, and he is, because there are a lot of, and it sounds disappointing, or at least sounds, I guess, sad, for the lack of a better way for me to phrase it at the moment. But there are a lot of people out there that are seeking guidance, that are seeking a voice to lead them, and these guys are capitalizing on it. They're not real hustlers. They are con men. They're selling you snake oil, but calling it essential oils now. True. They're selling you skills that are practical social skills that we all should have learned at one point. But as a society, we've moved away from looking each other in the eye and speaking to one another. So you don't have those skills. So I understand what the allure of it is. I understand how easy it would be for me to pay $50 for someone to say, you know what, when you walk up to a girl, look her in the eyes, greet her, say, hello, my name is Michael. What's your name? Great. Hey, you know what? I may come off a little brash, but I think you look great today. I would like to get you know better. Are you open to that? You know, those are skills that people just don't have now. And these dudes are saying, you know, man, if you just walk up and show her your fucking Lamborghini and your $5 million, that, hey, if you subscribe to this channel, we'll show you how to get that Lamborghini and $5 million, and you can just buy your hot chick, which is not the fucking way to do it.
Yeah, I think that's actually hits it kind of like right on the button. It's just but you know what? It kind of shows how
Vince Weaver, Jesus, Vince.
Misled. It kind of shows. It kind of like correlates in the sense of like how misled a lot of young men are nowadays, and how easy it is for them to be brought up by these people who, again, have already established themselves in some way, or are using the credibility or the value of someone else to build their own brand or their own representation. Like,
and I don't want to say that it's young men that are younger than us. Statistically, like I said, I'm part of a group called Public Relations Daily, and we do these numbers weekly. And when Andrew Tate got arrested in Romania, we're looking at his demographic, and his demographic ranges from the ages of 35 and up.
God damn.
It's a generation that's within our generation range, guys, and you see that going on with Generation Z and Generation Alpha. The new generations that are younger than us are massively violent when it comes to people stepping into their worlds and upsetting things. They defend what they love, and they
haven't figured out.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the younger generation gets a lot of shit put on them, but I think they got it figured out. I think they haven't figured out a lot more than my generation, to be honest.
Yeah, I think they're going to be a lot smarter than us when it comes to business and like influencers and like entrepreneurs. The younger generation, you'll see a lot more people.
Who took out Andrew Tate? This guy went and picked a fight with a 13-year-old, and she trolled his ass so much he got arrested for it. I mean,
yeah, even tricked Brian into thinking that pizza shit was real, man.
No, that pizza shit was real. And the pizza shit was fucking real. But I don't know what. I don't know his I don't know his thinking there. I don't know his thinking there. Like if you're Andrew Tate, right? Mm-hmm. Why and you know that the authorities are looking for you. Like Interpol is looking for you. The World Police is looking for you. Why the fuck would you get into an altercation with a young girl that the world adores?
Because like I don't. Shock value sells, and that's what he needs. He needs to be in front of people in some way, shape, or form. And when Elon Musk reinstated him back to Twitter, he was able to show people, I'm still here. You still need to spend money on me. Because he had been banned on every other platform. They kicked him off TikTok, off YouTube. Matter of fact, his content can't even come up on TikTok because the algorithm will eventually boot it out. Because he says some horribly sexist stuff. You know, women should be subservient. You know, they belong to men as products. We can trade them as we see fit. Men are alphas and we are the bros and all these things. I mean, shit, not even John Wayne in his heyday would have said that, you know, women are products. I mean, that guy said some racist shit.
I think that's the interesting part about this is like, I don't even know, maybe he does believe in it, but there could be a realm or a reality where he doesn't even believe any of that shit, but he knows that it sells. He's got 200,000 at that time, 200,000 people. Now it's grown to like whatever the fuck it is now.
Yeah,
even he
up on 2 million.
Even if he doesn't believe it, there's just so much value in it that you're still gonna peddle that shit.
Yeah, and that's what we see as product consumers. It's something that's kind of scary when we look at what we buy and what we kind of attribute to what we make as a culture. You know, Andrew Tate is either he believes it or not. I can't prove it, but we can take him and Elon Musk and put them side by side. And Elon, although he is not the genius everybody thinks he is, that he's a genius engineer, is a genius, you know, rocket scientist. He's a really great businessman, and he believes in what he's doing. Whether he's fucking it up or not, he believes in what he's doing.
And the product that he is pushing is in the involvement of humankind.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I get annoyed with Elon because he says dumb shit that he shouldn't be talking. If he was just paying the bills and making his money, rock on, dude. You're kicking ass. But he speaks when he shouldn't be speaking because he just doesn't know what he's talking about.
He's not good at speaking.
Yeah, he's promising things he shouldn't be promising. Andrew Tate, on the other hand, has nothing to give to society. Yeah, but this blanket of lot.
No, I mean it's true. Like there's nothing.
He offers nothing to the world. He's nothing.
Well, I mean, he got arrested for human trafficking, trafficking young women for sex, and that's a monster. I mean, I hate to get political because I have to see both sides of the fence. I do public relations for a living. Yep. So sometimes I represent the right-wing side. Sometimes I represent the left liberal side. So I go back and forth. I have to be neutral. But when it comes to human lives, you know, especially, you know, young women, I see my sisters. I see my cousins. I see my wife and my nieces. And I see people that should not be used in that way. No one should be used that way. You know, I've been in abusive relationships where a woman beat me. And just because I was taught to never hit a girl, I took pots and pans to my back. I've had a broom broken over me because she was upset that I didn't get her a new car. And why didn't I get a new car? I didn't have the credit to do it. We couldn't do it. So people should not be treated that way or used that way. And Andrew Tate is a piece of shit. And man, I hope he rots. And yeah, I will most likely lose audience members for it. And Brian gets every damn time with these topics, but holy shit, I dislike
this is
that was the calmest. I'm sorry, Chris. That was the calmest burn that I've ever heard in my life, yo. I didn't even like up until now, I didn't even realize you were like you just don't like the guy. Like I
Yeah,
thought
you
you were
just
just
don't like
being
him,
like,
man.
I thought you were just being like, political about it. But no, you really don't like this guy.
No, I do not. I remember when he was gaining popularity about 2 years ago, roughly. It was
shit.
mid-COVID, and one of my friends, and he's a real big gym guy, and he's like, oh, I'm with all the hottest chicks and that kind of a thing. He's like, man, there's this guy. He's a genius. His name's Andrew Tate. You got to listen to him, Mike. You fit right in with what he's doing. So,
They had you all wrong.
But what was the
I'll listen to
selling
this
point?
fucking guy. And
See, but that's my thing is like I want to know like why was that? So what makes him a genius?
It's not that he's a genius. He's
Who the fuck said he's a genius?
No. But I'm saying like in the sense of how the guy approached Mike, it was like, yo, Mike, you need to listen to this guy. He's super cool. He's great. The things he says is good. But what is it that he's saying?
There's a term called demagogue, and people call Trump a demagogue. And what this person's doing is he's telling you blatant lies, but telling you what you want to hear. He's making you believe that everything you believe in, everything that you want to happen is right and true. Trump promised, I'm going to drain the swamp. And what the hell swamp? And we're still in the same political issues that we've been since, George Bush Jr. was in office.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed there. And that's what Tate does. He makes you believe that you're not the problem. The bitches are the problem. They don't want you because they're over masculine now. They're not feminine enough now. And and that's literally a line you can quote this man, that you are not the problem, guys. The bitches are the problem, and that drives me nuts. I mean, there's a level of this, Brian. I know I'm making you laugh.
Brian's fucking loving this shit.
But
I love this shit. I love
it. People to cuss and say the weirdest shit, man. Taking people out
of really upset with this guy. Look, I grew up in a household raised by women. My father left when I was young. My mom was both mom and dad. I grew up with my grandmother taking care of me, my cousins helping me get back and forth from school. I took care of my sister while my mom worked 3 jobs. And to hear some idiots say, "Oh, the bitches are the problem," and this guy's a toxic piece of shit, straight up. I
1000% agree with you. I do. I didn't realize you were gonna get this animated. I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared, but I'm glad we're here.
Shit on this dude.
I didn't know he was a nemesis in your life, Mike.
Mike. I'm envisioning Mike like pressing the enter studio. No, the enter studio. No, he's pressing the enter studio button like mad aggressive. Like, get me in here. I had the shit on Andrew Tate right now.
Get me in now.
Get me in now.
Fuck him and the pizza box that caught him. That kind of a thing. But
I don't know. For me, it's different. I don't really subscribe to all the weird psychological word war that we're in. So like this idea of people throwing around like the misogynists and hate crimes, or not hate crimes, but what is it? Like hate words or whatever it is. I don't really, I don't involve myself too much in the moral emotion of needing to feel like I need to emotionally invest in people's words. If people I don't like, or they say something I don't like, or hate speech or whatever, I just don't give it attention. And if it comes to blows is when I give it attention, because then I'm gonna lay hands. I'm gonna lay the fire of God on them from my hands to their face. You know what I mean? But like other than that, I don't really invest too much. I know that there's been things that this guy has said about women that I don't believe in, and that's kind of where I'll just straight say like, well, the guy's a dumbass. Like, I don't think that way, because I think all people should be respected openly altogether at the same. If you want to respect someone and you want respect back, you need to give that respect first. Like, that's what it is through and through. The moment that person then destroys that respect, take your respect away and go fuck about him. You don't need to worry about him anymore after that.
Yeah, and the
problem that's kind of like easy.
Gentleman, as a topic altogether, is I could stand on a soapbox with this horse shit and talk for maybe about 2 or 3 hours, because it genuinely angers me. This man. You
see, I don't invest myself emotionally into people like that.
Yeah,
I don't.
They are breeding more, and that's the problem with it. I understand. Hey, I'm not going to emotionally invest because I don't believe it. I'm not going to do it. But I subscribe to a mentality that I heard in a movie. Pop culture, and we've talked about this before, raised me growing up. I mean, I learned to be the man I am because of Optimus Prime. I didn't have a dad. A Transformer taught me to be a grown adult man.
You get it where you get it.
Yeah, there's a film called The Kingdom of Heaven. And in that film, the main character has a saying over his blacksmith shop. This is, what is a man that does not make the world better? And
yes,
as a man that understands what somebody like Andrew Tate is doing, these hate speech sellers and these guys that are propagating these ideas, if I don't speak up and allow it to happen, then I'm silently consenting to what they're saying. I'm allowing this hate to grow. So I would rather look like an asshole and get shit on or hated for it and be the bad guy in somebody's story than know that I didn't at least convince one person to not look at my little sisters, to not look at my nieces and my mother as pieces of meat or items to be traded. You know, there's just a part of me that when I hear these things, when I see these interactions, knowing the knowledge I have and the education background that I have and the work experience that I have, that can be fixed, that can just be coached away. That if honestly, if you think that women are the problem, well, let's look at yourself and find a way to make yourself more attractive to the women you're interested in. Because that's really what it is. If we're going to look at this as sales, the way Andrew Tate teaches, then it needs to be you are the product. Yeah. You need to make yourself attractive, whether that's physically, if you need to work out, whether that's making yourself interesting. You know, there's a point in this where you have to look at yourself and not, I don't know, guys. Like I said, I can do this for hours. Brian always picks the one damn topic.
Yo, I'm honestly, dude, listen, I did not mean to set you off. I had no idea that you were going to have this. You know what? I'm lying. If I knew that I was having a conversation with you about Andrew Tate, I kind of know where you would land on that side. I have a pretty good gauge of the person you are. So I kind of knew that, but I had no idea this was coming though. This is
I apologize, guys, that I took this over this way. But
it's fine.
Mike, if you ever apologize for just speaking your mind, bro, like I'm gonna ask you to never.
It's good,
come back
and the reason
bro,
why it's good to talk about Mike in the discourse of this conversation is because, you know, our peers, even in the nerd community, are going to talk about this guy. Yeah. And a lot of the times, you know, in the nerd community and in our culture that we kind of like attract or we talk to, some of them are following people that are stronger than them, and they want that because we look up to heroes. Yeah. And in some way, some people will look up to this guy as some type of hero eventually. There's a culture where people look up to this guy, and we have to let them know, like, hey, look, dude, this is just a guy who got to his position because he's made some decisions and he's there for his own thing. The situation that he's in legally right now is all based on what he's done to himself. If he's guilty, he's going to get what he deserves. If he's not guilty, he's going to get what he deserves. But the idea is, like I told Brian earlier, I'm not a fan of him as a person, but what I need to understand all the variables to why he's in jail or to why he's being detained for so long. I know that he said some things, and of course the human trafficking, the rape charges and all this stuff are there, but we do have to take into consideration that what if it's not real? What if it's someone that's attacking? I'm just saying, and I'm not saying we have to agree with him, but I'm saying that the justice and the protocol has to be there. And we have to wait for the evidence to apply for itself. So that way, when the trial does come through and he does get charged, there's a positive and a negative, or a negative and a negative, or a negative and a positive. What's going to happen? It's like I told Brian, if everyone hates this guy and everybody wants him to go to jail and already are saying like, well, fuck this guy, he's a human trafficker. And he goes and he hits the jail course and he sees the judge, and the judge goes, well, the person that claimed it isn't here. You know, there's no evidence that displays this. We've already talked about the past stuff in the past, which he was already let go of. He's innocent of it right now. He goes free. And everything that everybody has claimed and stated then gives him power. It makes this whole Matrix thing look even more realistic. And you're just feeding that machine. And I think
I have with that frame of thought is, and let's look at this subjectively. Let's look at this neutral. Yeah. I dislike this man, but we'll put that aside because hey, we got to. There's adequate proof to at least try him for human trafficking, right? We don't know where the government stands of 3 different countries that he's wanted in with their proof, but 3 different countries have him, and now he's been booked in Romania, so that's 4. On top of that, he has fled 3 different countries illegally, including the United States, for these charges. So there's enough proof here that he has something going on that he can be detained for. So there's probable cause. So just by running means he's a felon. That's illegal. You didn't meet your court cases, your court hearings, you ran. If any one of us on camera right now, we are all people of color, and I'm the lightest fucker in this room, but as a Mexican, if my Mexican ass ran from the court of law, I'd be in jail. Straight up. If I missed a court date, a bail bondsman or the sheriff's department, a constable would come and get me. And I would have to run far, and I don't have the money for it. This gentleman, on the other hand, has the money to book it. So even if the human trafficking isn't something that can stuck to him, he has still broken several laws internationally. And if you don't have something wrong with you, then why are you running? And we can look at an example right now. Justin Roiland, the co-creator of Rick and Morty, he's in the hot seat right now. He's being accused of abuse with a significant other. There's sexual assault charges. But he's standing his ground.
Domestic abuse.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't want to, because I know you're on a roll, Mike. Yeah. But explain to me what happened here. What's going on? I am completely clueless on what happened here. So tell me what happened.
Okay. So with Justin Roiland, he got served, I believe, this week by an ex-girlfriend, saying that she had been sexually abused by him and assaulted. That he beat her, and she wanted him to be arrested and stand trial for the assault. She needs him to go to jail. So now, instead of him running, he lawyered up. He said, this is the second or third time she's done this against me, and I will prove that I am innocent, which it's not a good light for him, no matter what. From a public relations standpoint, a man being accused of that is the bad guy every single time.
So with the allegations, were they like really bad? Like how bad were they?
Apparently, he beat the living shit out of her.
Oh, shit.
And raped her. And we haven't really seen everything that's come out because they haven't released the transcript or anything, but the allegations are bad. And apparently it's the second or third time she has said that he's done this.
Okay.
Yeah. So he hasn't been caught from his shows or anything just yet, but he's here. He's facing the allegations. He's going to go to court. He's going to do his thing. Tate ran. Which one shows that for the alpha man that he is, he wasn't man enough to stand and take what was coming. A real man would say, hey, whether I did it or not, I have to be here. I have to deal with this. He ran. Like a little bitch. So it's at a point where I understand what you're saying, Chris, that, we're only going to look at it if he is guilty. We can't judge him without it. But he's done enough stuff that he is already immediately guilty for. Then why are we going to give a man the benefit of a doubt? If I'm going to be pissing off a second-story building and you see me peeing off it, and then I shout down to you, it's raining, why are you going to believe me it's raining?
No, I get it. Listen. It's what's up, Derpy? How you doing, man? Yeah, it's just for me. I'm one of those guys. I want to make sure that we have everything out in the open because the machine gets fed if we do incorrect.
Yeah, and that's understandable. And yes, due processes to go through. We live in a world where Batman doesn't exist. I go back to Glass Onion.
Great movie, by the way. Great movie, by the way. I saw it. Yeah,
nice.
It's a good movie.
Yeah. So in Glass Onion, the main character states that I have rules to follow. I have to answer to police. I have to answer to judges. I have to answer the courts. I have to answer to laws. I'm not Batman. Jurisdiction ends there for me. Mm-hmm. And that's where we're at right now. I would love to say I could put a cape on and fly my happy ass to Romania, beat the living shit out of this man, throw him into the sun, super villain gone. As bad as that is coming out of my mouth. But in reality, I can't. A process has to go through. We need to prove he is guilty and he needs to do his time.
Mike, good question. What movie is better, Glass Onion or Knives Out, the original?
Wow. I personally like Knives Out better, just because the case was much more of a murder mystery for me than Clue. And the second one felt like I was watching Clue.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I can see that.
Yeah.
I like Glass Onion.
I love them both.
Chris, did you watch Glass Onion yet or no?
No, I've seen Knives Out. I haven't seen Glass Onion yet, but I know the format.
You gotta watch it.
Like it's the murder mystery, the Clue stuff.
It's the same thing as the first one. Yeah,
detective stories, which is kind of like that boat movie with Gal Gadot that came out a couple years ago, maybe like last year.
Yeah, Death on the Nile.
Yeah, right? Death on the Nile. I kind of feel like those movies are really cool. They're fun. But I haven't seen it yet. I've been wanting to. And the other one that Vince had told me about was this one called The Menu. and I've been wanting to check
I've
that
heard
one
of
out
it.
also.
Oh, that menu is something special.
Yeah, he told me, he was like, man, yeah, it's really good. So yeah, Vincent hit me up last week about it. Correlating back a little bit, Brian, I had to apologize to you and reiterate that I think you were right, man. 2 weeks ago we had the discussion, and I think you're right in the sense of Dave Bautista being the better wrestler turned actor but the reason why is because he's chosen to give himself challenging roles, not like The Rock, who just grabbed. Like, he just took at whatever he could and followed the trope of him being the star playing the character. Dave Bautista actually challenges himself with characters that are like challenging roles. I do agree with that now. I really, really thought about it, and I was like, well, you know what? Like, I get it. I may not like his acting style, but he chooses difficult roles to play, if that makes sense. And in the time that he's been acting, he's only done 1 or 2 of them that are based on like the ogre characters, which are like the muscle bound meathead characters. Other than that, they've all been challenging. So yeah, I do agree that Dave Bautista in the situation, and it's good because this looks at the idea of like the future generation of wrestlers are going to challenge themselves of actors more than wrestlers turn actors. So,
speaking of wrestling, Rob, we had a good week this week in wrestling, bro. There's been a lot of shit. We don't got to get into it on here, but Rob,
it's probably a show on its own. Even with
I was going to say,
potential deals, that's a lot going on.
Brian, don't forget. I mean, of course, Gym Class Majors talks about wrestling, don't you guys?
Yeah, so never
like,
talking about that. Hell yeah!
You guys want to catch up with Brian? Don't forget Gym
Hell
Class
yeah!
Majors.
This week we're definitely talking about it. So yeah,
you guys are out there doing wrestling stuff, and you're into
Hell
that
yeah,
stuff,
bro.
The WrestleMania, Vince McMahon coming back, the Dubai deal, the AEW stuff going on, and them collaborating with the WWE. Like, Brian's probably going to be covering that shit. That's a lot of stuff I heard about it too. And I'm not even a big wrestling fan. Look at all the shit I just like named out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Dude,
and I don't even watch wrestling. That's how
wild.
big that shit is.
It's been wild.
So, of course, we got to cover the Rick and Morty thing, which I was very making sure that we covered. Another one.
So wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm still interested on this topic because we just kind of like glanced over it. How much time is he looking at?
She's in like 7 to 8 years.
Right now, with the level of crimes he's committed, he's looking at least upwards to life to multiple life terms.
Holy guacamole.
Right now, he's being accused of trafficking a total of 75 women aging from the.
You're talking about
no, you're talking about Andrew Tate.
Rick and Morty. No, for Justin Roiland. Yeah, there's nothing in place for it right now.
Dude. Yeah.
I was like,
beat the shit out of this girl. God damn, dude.
Oh my god.
For Roland, maybe 7 years at tops, depending on it. I mean, they're low level charges. Like I said, they've thrown them at him before. He's beaten them before.
Yeah, because
I'm not expecting to do anything about it.
From what it looks like, lightly on Newsweek, Roland is charged with domestic battery with corporal injury, false imprisonment by menace. I don't even know what that means. That just sounds wild as fuck. Violence, fraud, and deceit. As a result, he's facing up to 7 years in prison.
Okay, I have a question for both of you gentlemen. Being that these allegations are out, let's say, and I don't want to wish this on anybody, but let's say the allegations have some relevance, right?
Okay.
Right.
Does this change your view of the show? And not only that, but take it off of Rick and Morty. Whenever the creators of any show get into hot water, does that change your outlook on the product itself?
Well, I can't put money in their pockets. That's the way I look at it. I used to be a big fan of Rurouni Kenshin, and then it came out that the guy who created the anime was he had child pornography. So as of then, I never bought, watched, cared to be a part of anything Rurouni Kenshin. I don't tell people it's a great anime. I tell people it was, but not anymore. And I let them know, well, the guy who created this has child pornography and was arrested for it, is in prison for it. So I don't subjugate to his stuff, because I don't want to keep putting money in his pocket for royalties or whatever while he's spending time in prison and he thinks it's okay because he's got fans. Now, with the Rick and Morty concept, like, this came out about the opposite one. But before, with Roland, right? Well, this guy, what's this guy's name? Justin Roiland, this one?
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna stop you right there, Chris. And Mike, I do want you, right? I do want you to answer, but Chris, just asking a question off of your answer there. Do you think that there's a little bit of a difference because Rick and Morty is so mainstream? Like, that's so much more ingrained in like your just your
Everyday
psyche,
life.
your everyday life,
Yeah.
that it's easier for you to let go of something that is,
Not
you
as
know,
close.
not as close as it
Yeah.
is to something like Rick and Morty.
I mean,
Like,
it
do you
sucks
think?
and it hurts. Like, but again, this happened a while back for me because Dan Harmon, which is the other director, the guy that's the main dude behind it, had made a very ugly, inappropriate video about having sex with a child. And he said it was a comedy skit. And it was literally a person. The comedy skit was a grown man having sex with like a newborn baby. And it was pretty weird. And it was one of those things that it got out that he has made a lot of, like, almost like the James Gunn allegations, right? Almost in the same factor, but they were there. This guy jumped offline because he didn't want to deal with the association. And then he came back and claimed that it was comedy and that he was young and all this stuff. And don't get me wrong, I like comedy and I was young too, but I never talked about fucking children. Like, I don't find that as a joke in any situation. But that person's situation had already shot me away from Rick and Morty in the first place.
Gotcha.
So, like, to see that now, this person who created that type of grotesque comedy, that the person that he associates himself with, that he's very close to, that has worked with him with his animations and was a part of that comedy trope that he was with, is now being accused of domestic violence, being aggressive towards a female, and all this other horrendous stuff. Like, how do you correlate with that? And this goes off of the idea, and this is what I want to ask you guys now. When the allegations came out about James Gunn, you know, making inappropriate comments about children and all that other stuff, there were several Twitter comments that he made or posts where he actually tagged people that were later arrested for being with children. And he was making posts about them with children or underage things. Is that the idea of them casually knowing that this is going on and keeping it under wraps until it becomes prominent and people know, public?
Okay. All right. So hold on 1 second. So I want to get Mike in here. So I guess I'm not going to answer that. I will answer it, but I want Mike to answer this first because this kind of like piggybacks off of my original question.
Yeah.
Are you able to disassociate yourself from a creator, from the product that, you know, is universally loved? Mike, are you able to disassociate yourself?
So yes and no, and it depends on the offense here. Beating and assaulting women or people, that's a horrendous violent crime, and I can't. You're a monster. You've hurt somebody. You have caused harm. If you're a product of your times, like I've given the example in the past of H.P. Lovecraft. I love reading the Cthulhu mythos, the Lovecraftian mythos, but that man was a racist through and through. I mean, horrible man. To the point to where he was so racist that the KKK had to ask him to stop supporting them because he was making them look bad. That's real history. So with that, I can separate. Okay, well, he's a product of his times. He didn't leave his damn attic. He had his world belief, but he made some really creepy shit. And I like reading the creepy shit that other people took over and made different things. In the case of Justin Roiland, it comes out true that he is hurting people. One, it explains why we get the comedy we get. Ultra violent, you know, really derivative of people, you know, interacting with others. They bully a lot of people. You know, a lot of the characters there are really treated like shit. It makes sense that person is making this stuff. So there, I would drop it. But for me to say, hey, you know what, I'm never going to read Dr. Seuss again because one book is about racism between yellow birds to white birds. No, there's different things I can get around that will allow me to enjoy said media. I still like The Grinch, but there's different levels of it, and I think that comes from me having to do neutrality with most of the things I have to do. That if it's something that I cannot look away from, and the James Gunn comment is probably the best one. James Gunn made a bunch of these really stupid tweets when he was making all these gory, you know, trauma style films back in the day. So it was all shock value, and he was an idiot. Never should have given him internet. He never should have said what he said. But at the same time, he was never arrested. I mean, he was accused of things, but he was never proven he did anything wrong. All his friends around him got caught. And I mean, is there smoke? Is there fire? Probably. But I can't say, hey, you know what? I'm going to stop looking at Guardians of the Galaxy because he did apparently this years ago. So it's a weird middle ground for me. And that comes off, I know, massively contradictory, especially with the way I feel about people like Andrew Tate, and where I won't accept their media that they give, but at the same time, I know what that person's doing because I've been taught how to do it, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Listen. I'm on board with both of you gentlemen and your standpoints, but damn, man, I'm crossing my fingers. I hope nothing happens with Matt and Trey because South Park is fuck, man. Like
at this point, Matt and Trey have been around so long that if it was going to happen, it would have
happened. I'm kind of being funny here, but like, damn, like it's weird. It's weird being in a situation, and we could take this out of the realm of TV and movies, just in any aspect of entertainment. When you find out, because all right, so for perfect example, Harvey Weinstein, right? Harvey Weinstein has financed and produced some of my favorite movies of all fucking times. Yep. So it's like, how do I feel about everything? Quentin Tarantino is my favorite director, all right? Of personally, he's my favorite, right? He's been basically all financed by Harvey Weinstein. So now it's like, so the money that this horrible man gave to my favorite creator, am I just gonna throw it away because he's associated with it? Like whenever I watch Pulp Fiction now, it's gonna say the Weinstein group or whatever, and I'm gonna feel a certain way about it. But like, am I able to disassociate myself from that? And I think it's on a case by case basis. Like, it's weird. It's a weird thing.
I don't want to say that it's disassociation that needs to happen. It really need to do is just zoom out a little bit. No, we get hyper focused on one person's crime, and then everyone else around him has to suffer for somebody else's sins. And when we look at Quentin Tarantino's films, I mean, they gave us John Travolta's resurgence. You know, Uma Thurman became a household name,
a star, fucking
with
Quentin Tarantino.
We got to get great films like Django Unchained. You know, we got some
Kill Bill, dude.
Kill Bill. You know, some amazing films that
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah,
Reservoir Dogs.
Amazing actors.
All financed by Harvey Weinstein, by the way.
Yeah, so we need to step back, and instead of looking at like, hey, fuck Harvey Weinstein, we say, fuck him. But from his bad, at least we can appreciate the art that was created by the people that didn't do the bad. Let's not punish the actors and the workers and the employees. Because I could say, hey, you know what? I mean, fuck Harvey Weinstein's secretary. She took all the calls and booked all the sex meetings you're going to have with these starlets. So she's guilty. But she was doing the job. And it's a weird dichotomy because I understand people had the frustration with I was only following orders. The Nazi
to me, every time someone talks about these guys, it reminds me of the Boondocks cartoon. And it reminds me of the R. Kelly moment, like when he's fucking singing. And they're like, we all know this motherfucker can sing. Take away his camera. Fucking stop him from meeting girls. Like, don't let little kids be in front of him. Stop him from peeing on people. Walk him to the toilet. Like, there's a bunch of things you could do to help a person that has these problems.
So I would love to see.
Like, watch with Quentin Tarantino. Hold on. With Quentin Tarantino, he was very heavily supported by the Weinstein Group, and he was really good friends with him and all this other stuff. Same thing with his collaborations with Roman Polanski. And Roman Polanski was this other dude who raped a kid on set, drugged her up and raped her. And then later on the Howard Stern show, Quentin Tarantino came out and defended this dude. And this was in 2012, 2011. Quentin Tarantino was like, nah, bro, she was about it. She was about partying with us and drinking and taking drugs, and it was going to happen to her. And it's like, yo, she's 13 though. Like, you knew she was a kid. The cast of Howard Stern was like, yo, she's a kid. You knew she was a kid. Like, they knew she was a child. Like, and they still did that. It doesn't matter if she's a part of it or hangs out with them or whatever. It's still a child. And he defended her. Like, he defended Roman Polanski. And this goes off of like several years ago. This was like 2020, where like at the Golden Globes, there was a conversation about them bringing Roman Polanski back from Sweden because he's done his time living in Sweden. Bro, he's living in Sweden. Like, that's not him doing any time. He escaped the United States because he didn't want to be jailed for being a fucking child pedophile. And he went to Sweden, and they never brought him back. He just lived his life over there. And there's still people defending this dude.
Stanley Kubrick.
Just comment here that the Friday the 13th show ended up getting serious and slightly dull. My bad, Elizabeth. My bad.
No, dude, it's cool. It's cool. I mean, it's good because it's still like, it's like I was telling Brian, like, it's kind of casually, and I think everybody feels it. It's a slow week in the nerd world. We're waiting for Ant-Man. In fact, we got the trailer up that we can watch it in a little bit because that's been the only thing. It's been super dry when it comes to this. I have a couple of things I want to talk about in the nerd community, but like I said, these are things that are still embedded in our culture. Like you guys named fucking everything Quentin Tarantino made, which is literally all the posters they sell at every Comic-Con. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's not like it's something that shouldn't be talked about because I think people should be giving their opinion on how to handle the situation. James Gunn, Rick and Morty is part of this conversation.
Yeah.
James Gunn, the creator of probably, if not one of the biggest Marvel movies, is a part of this conversation.
Stanley Kubrick is up there too for me, and he's also a guy that you can't.
He's got some shit.
He's got some shit with them.
Got some red on his ledger, as Black Widow says.
Yeah, he's got some shit. He's got some shit on him, but goddamn, he can make a fucking movie, bro. Like
R. Kelly, bro.
Every time. So that's what I was gonna say. It's like, so if you're at a wedding and you're drinking and the DJ puts on R. Kelly Steppin' in Them Love, are you dancing or are you fucking getting off the fucking?
Like probably. Let's get it straight first. For me, it's gonna have to be the remix.
Ignition. I knew you were gonna do that. All right.
I am as basic bitch as it gets to R. Kelly. But
I think it's one of those things, boys. Like I think it's one of those things. Like for me, like it's like I was saying, like I'm a really big fan of the Rurouni Kenshin series. Like it's on Netflix, the recent live action films, and the live action films have been pretty good in the way that they designed them. But is the concept, Mike, thing is, if you go and subscribe to this and you go and subscribe to it, is the guy who went to jail still getting royalties? Because it's like you said, if you're out at a thing, hey, what's up, Diggs? Good to see you, man. If you're out on at a wedding and someone plays R. Kelly, do you dance? But is R. Kelly getting money out of it, or are you just enjoying the moment? He's not really getting money out of it, so you're not really contributing to him.
Comedian, I can't remember what his name is, but he made a joke that he enjoys the remix to Ignition, and his wife asked him, though, how can you play this music? He's a horrible man. He's like, you know what? Maybe instead of me not enjoying the things I enjoy, maybe I donate the $1 that I would have spent streaming this thing to a nonprofit that supports people.
Yeah. You see, like you end up finding ways.
And I think that's where we're at this weird separation. And oddly enough, I had a conversation like this with my mother a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about, a lot of the celebrities she liked in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Mm-hmm. And they were all horrible human beings.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
The 80s were bugging. I had this conversation with my mom 2 days ago. The 80s were bugging,
Yeah, no, we were talking about the movie Urban Cowboy. Have you guys seen this movie, or do you remember it?
I've never seen it.
Yeah, early John Travolta movie with Sissy Spacek, and I can't remember who else is in it. But he's an abusive cowboy. He beats the hell out of his wife, but all the women were fawning over him because he looked great in Wranglers, and it was just he was it was a
people like our older generation
behavior back in the day. So my mom was like, well, we shouldn't support people like that. I was like, yeah, I understand that now. Hindsight is 20/20. You see what was wrong then, and you're stuck still enjoying this because you grew up with it. So now it's up to us to teach the next generation, let them make their own choices, and pray to God they get it better than we do. And it's true because that's where we're at. As we are in our late 30s, 40s. Chris is about 78 now, or how old you are, Chris?
And a half. Yeah.
And a half.
I'm pushing diapers right now, man.
We have to make sure Generation Z, Generation Alpha, and all the newer generations coming in can get better shit. And it's a weird separation because I have friends in the D&D community. They hate the new editions of the game because it's too woke, or they care about calling creatures evil with their races and stuff. And
wait, D&D is woke. Wait, D&D is woke now.
D&D is woke now, sir.
And that was one of the major reasons why I wanted to bring you on the show, Mike. Like I wanted to talk because I think recently there's been some crazy D&D drama that's been happening.
I gotta hear this shit.
Yeah, it's kind of wild, man.
All right, so where do you want me to start? Because this is going to be a mild...
Okay. Listen, Mike. I have to give this disclaimer first. And I'm that guy in class. I don't care how dumb I sound or how ignorant I may sound. Certain aspects I may need you to dumb down for me. I'm gonna need like a dumbed down version of this because I know absolutely nothing about D&D.
And I have to say this too. Like, there's probably a good amount of people, and Mike, you understand this because you've been in the game for such a long time, that it's a very niche community. There's not a lot of people that are subscribed to Dungeons and Dragons around the times, but we know with the Stranger Things blow up, Vox Machina, with the movie coming out soon, that Dungeons and Dragons itself has been getting a lot of pickup. And then of course, like, even by far, Henry Cavill leaving The Witcher and jumping onto Warhammer's been picking up, which of course gives information to Dungeons and Dragons because it's in the same format of skill, or it's in the same format of play.
Tabletop RPGs. Yeah.
Me myself, we've only played some very tiny little, some 12-minute small games. Brian, I've talked about, hopefully us doing like a live play game here and having it to where the audience can kind of dictate where we go and donate and have some fun with us and fucking get us to either do good or do bad. It's something that we really want to try and push. But of course, you're my Dungeons and Dragons guy, you're my guy, you're my D&D. So like, I have to ask, like, this past week, there's been a lot of drama with Dungeons and Dragons, the game. If you're not subscribed to it, it's okay, because this still supplies us in the knowledge of nerd drama. And Dungeons and Dragons is one of the biggest fucking RPG games in the world, tabletop games. There's been two things that I wanted to ask, and these are the two parts, and then I know you're going to take it from there. What is the hashtag Open D&D?
Okay.
And what is OGL?
Alrighty, so Dungeons and Dragons was created from a tabletop system called Chainmail by Gary Gygax and his buddies and pals that made this system. It was created on something called the OGL, an open gaming license. So what an open gaming license does is allows any third-party creator or any dungeon master or any person that's out there that enjoys this game to create their own content and sell their own content to support the game. Okay. When D&D started, it was no way in any shape or way or form as popular as it is now. We had the Satanic Panic back in the day, where people believed that D&D was raising the devil and calling demons and sacrificing people in forests.
Which we got reference to in Stranger Things?
Yeah, which we got reference to in Stranger Things. And there are actual cases where idiots took it to serious.
Why is that? I'm sorry. I think that for me is a big thing. Like, why is that? Why is like Satan, like worshiping Satan, associated with that game?
So in Dungeons and Dragons, the pantheon of gods aren't traditional deities we're familiar with. And the deities we're familiar with, even mythologies, didn't really exist in D&D until maybe the late 80s, early 90s, when we started seeing, Norse mythology, Egyptian mythology, Greek and Roman start to really come into prominence. So we had gods of D&D that were horrific monsters. We have two dragon gods, a god of good and a god of evil, the Bahamut and Tiamat. We have the Demogorgon, which is a two-headed, four-armed, tentacled, hyena-looking ape monster that is evil.
Yeah, they're pretty Cthulhu-esque, right?
Yeah, so these monsters are horrendous to look at. Even the good gods have really bad connotations to them. The elven gods hate human gods. The human gods are here to exact vengeance on those that have hurt them. There was not really a even flow on the way things were represented back in the day. You had white and black, good and evil. There was no in between, really. The neutral gods that did exist in the earlier systems were just that, neutral. They stayed out of the way of everybody. They made sure things stayed balanced, and that was that. So you had those fans the same way we have fans now. Some guys like heroes, some guys like villains. And you had the fans of the evil gods, the evil deities, thinking, you know what? I have all these books that have spells in them and they have rules in them. I can follow all these rituals because it's written here. And if I kill enough people, I can summon the Demogorgon, or I can bring the Spider Queen Loth to this world. And I wish it was an over-exaggeration, but there are people that take the game that serious to this day. And it takes quite a bit of the community to try to redirect and correct their mentalities.
I mean, you can see it. And you can see it too, like the way you play the game, it's almost very ceremonial, where you have like, tables and little figurines and candles, and you can really like dress it up a lot. And the way that it's portrayed in Stranger Things is you have a bunch of children being very hyped about demon-esque characters and stuff, right? And during that time, the Christian push is very, very big also.
Yeah, I mean, and George, every comment you're making is 100% true, sadly, and I will get to that once we get to the end of OGL, because this is a long journey. I'm sorry, guys. You brought me on possibly the worst thing I could talk about tonight. But yeah, so D&D evolved from there. We got past the Satanic Panic, and it kind of fell into obscure fame. You know, you had small pockets of people playing it in small cities. They learned it from their parents or their family members that played it in the 70s and 80s and dumped it into the 90s. Even myself, the only reason I came across Dungeons and Dragons in 1998 as a freshman in high school was because I was leaving the band hall and there was a group of guys and one girl rolling dice on the floor. And I was like, these guys are gambling. Like, what the hell is going on? I thought they were. So I walked up to them and was like, what are you all doing? And they're like, oh, we're playing D&D. It's like, well, what's D&D? They explained it. I was like, oh, okay, it's storytelling, and I get to be a hero. Like, yeah, you can be whatever you want. And they gave me a book, and they said, pick what you want from here. And I flipped through the book, and I saw this knight with a huge cross on his chest. His leg was lifted and was standing on top of an evil-looking dragon that was dead, and he had a sword. I was like, I want to be that. Whatever that is, I want to be the hero. I was like, okay, well, you're a paladin, and these are your gods. So, I mean, I was born and raised Catholic, so I was very
identified.
Yeah, you knew the template.
So I didn't want to follow a dragon god or a demon or a god I didn't understand. So my DM said, you know what we're going to do, Michael, is we're going to take Christianity and we're going to call it the God of Light. And you will follow the God of Light and you will follow as a Catholic.
You can switch that up too. Cool.
So he made it fit me so I was comfortable. Years have passed, and of course now I'll be a paladin of whoever the fuck at this point. But I mean, I started off a certain way, so it was comfortable for me, and they molded the game to me. And that's
so wait, you have that ability just to
that's pretty cool.
Literally make any like I understand there's characters in it, but you can conform that character however you want.
Yeah, you can customize that character any way you want, and we'll eventually get to the OGL and where video games have to pay money to Wizards of the Coast now for doing their character build screens and choices the same way Dungeons and Dragons does. You can be anything. Right now, for fun, I run a high-level campaign in 5th edition D&D where everybody is a gunslinger. So they all
that sounds dope. There you go.
Like cowboys and shit.
The job for them is it's Dungeons and Dragons medieval fantasy in the Wild West, and they are sheriff deputies in one city that connects to 5 cities. And they have to go out on jobs and patrol crimes and try to
see, you can't have me in a game like that. I would be like out of control.
Oh yeah,
I would be doing the most outlandish. I would be out of control, yo.
You see, but that's the glory of D&D. You build this game to whatever your players want. So I know my style of DMing as a dungeon master, as a GM, a game master, is rules light. I am rule of cool. The rules are very, very restrictive sometimes, and I'm like, fuck it, we're not going to do this because it's not fun. You want to backflip 3 times, roll the dice these 3 different ways. If you get these 3 different numbers, you did it. You can do whatever you want to do as long as you roll correctly. And that's the way I do it. So it's customizable for you. So we build an entire culture of this where content creators could make things for their fans the way they wanted to interact with their fans. And you saw that with Matt Mercer for Critical Role. There's Matt Colville for his big company, which I can't remember the name of it right now. It saved my life. MCDM, thank you, love. You have Dimension 20 with Brennan, who's a big DM as well. And these large companies.
Well, even that dude, what's his name? The one from Magic Mike?
Yeah. Joe Manganiello, man, yeah.
Yeah, Joe Manganiello.
She is on point today.
Yeah, she's actually one of the first girls I ever met that played D&D. She was one in that group before I even started.
That's awesome.
But anyway, yeah, the entire idea of building content for others is what built this company to survive all these years, because D&D was going bankrupt before Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast bought them. The company was dying. Yeah, three other book publishers owned D&D before Wizards of the Coast picked it up to save it and made 5th edition. Okay. Yeah, it was gone. No, we had 2nd edition, which was Advanced D&D. We had 3rd edition, 3.5, 4th edition, which was the D&D killer. 4th edition was so poorly received that no one bought the damn thing. Matter of fact, you can go to most stores and find that stuff for like $5 nowadays, because it was a really bad version of D&D. People just did not like it.
Yeah.
It changed a lot of things that we enjoyed playing in the game. Hell, in that game, the paladin that I grew to love, that was immune to poisons, would defend and protect his friends, now teleported for some fucking reason. I didn't need to be Nightcrawler. That wasn't my job. But anyway, so Wizard of the Coast picks up D&D. 5th edition comes out, and they bank massively. Over the years of COVID, D&D has brought in billions of dollars in profit to Wizards of the Coast, showcasing a need and desire for this type of product that is kind of ridiculous. So we will flash forward to now and the open gaming license. So content creation, like I said, was done by third-party content creators. I have even published stuff for Dungeons & Dragons myself. I've done nonprofit charity streams running Werewolf the Apocalypse, raising money for cancer charities. In this vein, as a third-party content creator. So the Open Gaming License 1.0 allowed all this to happen. Wizards of the Coast and D&D took no profit from you. You can make your living being a DM for hire. You can make your living making these rules and these game templates and stories for D&D to run off their system and make a living. And then we got OGL 1.1a. And that's what happened this week and caused all hell to break loose.
What is it?
The Open Gaming License 1.1a removes all the ability from content creator third-party members to make D&D content without having to pay all their profits to Wizards of the Coast.
Damn.
Shit.
So we went from being able to keep our profits to having to, I think it's about 85% or so of what we were creating.
Wait, all right, hold on. How are they able to? I'm sorry, and again, this apologize if this is an ignorant question. How are they able to regulate this? How are they able to do this?
So the reason they're able to regulate this is because the OGL 1.0, the very first one, is a factual legal document that Dungeons & Dragons created through Gary Gygax. That this thing is sitting in law and has been held in place.
No, but what I think Brian's asking is pretty much what we're all thinking. Like,
how are they going to be able to enforce it?
If you can go and run a game in the hallway of your school, and two dudes are looking like they're just playing craps. Like,
so the glory of being able to enforce it now is everything's online. So we have places like DM's Guild. We have places like Critical Role's webpage, Dimension 20's webpage.
Well, that's like Roll 20 or what's that Roll whatever.
Dimension 20, Roll 20. Sites
Roll
like
20 on fucking Google Chrome.
I don't know why my brain never just thought that you guys were playing online now. For some reason, in my brain, I'm still thinking you guys are like gathering in person to play.
So for the most part, we are. We gather in person.
I think that's pretty much what it is, right?
Yeah, but you're looking at places that we publish our materials to share with one another. A great example is there's a content creator out of El Paso that made a class of paladin called the Paladin of the Aesir, and it's a paladin for the Norse mythology. He gave me all the rules for it. He sold me that class for $1. I paid him $1 for it, and he basically paid me what you can. That's what he asked for. So I gave him $1. I gave him, this is what I got right now. He's like, hey, badass, enjoy the character. And that's how we exchanged new ideas. That's how we exchanged new character classes in these options. So Wizards of the Coast is making a new virtual tabletop through D&D Beyond. And they came up with an idea called One D&D, where there was no longer going to be any older editions. They were all going to be obsolete. They were going to recall any product that was out in the world, and they were going to vault it all away. So
how are they able to execute this fucking big? How are they able to do this?
Yeah,
Mike? Explain this. Like I don't understand. Like you're telling me all this outlandish shit, but you're not telling me how they plan on executing this shit. Like
it's like a book burning. Like this shit's out in fucking.
Yeah, the publication strategy that we received, or at least that was leaked over this week, is the idea to execute recalling product is to deny stores that are selling it the new products. Either you send in what you have, or you get nothing. And that's the way a lot of these stores have to operate. I mean, if you look at the comic shops in the Rio Grande Valley here, we have Myth Adventures that is very heavy in tabletop stuff, and then we have Kaboom Comics that has damn near nothing. Because Ramsey and his shop doesn't sell that product. They offer spots to play that game, but it's not as heavy as you would see in, say, Myth Adventure.
Yeah.
So if they told Myth, send in all the old stuff you got, and you don't get anything else, it's going to kill their products. It's going to kill.
I would be like, yo, well, send me money, bro.
But that's going to kill your product. That's killing your product anyway, though, right?
Yeah, and that's literally what's happening. So
that doesn't make any sense from a business aspect. That just doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry, Mike. This is a niche fucking like realm of the group. Like, this is a niche group. Why would you want to restrict that? Why would you not want to keep it the way that it is and expand it as much as possible?
Well, because Dungeons and Dragons right now isn't being headed by people that play the game. It's owned by Hasbro, which is a large toy maker and toy company. They are a brand company.
Yep.
Yeah, they own G.I. Joe and Transformers and My Little Pony.
WWE shit. Yeah, I'm familiar with them.
Own everything.
So they're trying to find ways to make money on the game.
And it came out in the leaked documents internally that the shareholders for Hasbro stated that players of Dungeons and Dragons are a problem, that we are in the way of them making more money. If they can get rid of us the way we are and bring in new players, then they'll make money. And that goes to what George is saying in the comments here, that this wasn't intended to affect the small players. It wasn't meant to affect people like me. It was meant to hit large companies and force them to sign on to Hasbro and give Hasbro all their profits. Kickstarter was taking, was it 25% of the profit from Kickstarter? Right?
Damn, 25, goddamn.
Yeah, 25% of all revenue made over $750,000 for any Kickstarter you ran for a D&D related or functional product. So
well, I mean, that kind of makes sense because you're paying royalties to the originating idea. Like, I understand that part, right? Because it's that idea of like coattails or piggybacking on a bigger IP. It would be
but
like
we're not talking about profit. We're talking about total revenue. So that means even with the cost it would take for this third party to print these books, to send out the things they promised before they can do any of that, Hasbro says, give me 25% of your $750K, and then you can print a goddamn money to print everything you're going to print.
So, Mike, what does this mean for the average player, for the average person that plays D&D?
So
what does this mean?
This goes to Chris's question on Open D&D, hashtag Open D&D, and the utter war it caused with the average player.
It's been the protest, man.
Yeah, we got upset. There's a wonderful example of what D&D players can do when we want something. Critical Role went and did a Kickstarter hoping to raise $100,000 to do a pilot for Vox Machina on Amazon. They were hoping to raise
really good. It's fun if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, and they broke was several million, I believe. They broke $12 million in Kickstarter fundraising because average people like me donated to the Kickstarter because we wanted that cartoon so damn bad.
Mm-hmm. And it's fantastic.
It funded an entire season, and their second season comes out in 2 weeks.
Oh, fucking awesome, dude! It's
great.
It's really good.
That's the power of what the average player can do in support. So when they did hashtag #OneD&D and decided to take away everything we loved, the ability for us to interact with each other, the ability for us to go to conventions and share ideas, sell our ideas, and support what we were doing with one another, we made hashtag #OpenD&D and said, everybody end your subscriptions to D&D Beyond, which is the platform where they're measuring how profitable D&D is right now. Stop buying the new books. Don't give your money to Wizards of the Coast anymore. Hurt them where it hurts. In their pockets.
I see where this is going. I'm going to play devil's advocate just that's just by nature what I like to do.
I think it's really important.
So they're not, from what and stop me if I'm getting this wrong, they're not taking anything from you. They're just taxing you on it. Am I wrong about this?
No, they're taking away from us. They're taking the ability for us to create new content. They're taking away the older books that we all.
Oh, because it's obsolete. You said that it was obsolete.
Yeah, we will no longer be able to function in the world we're a part of that we helped create. So every few years, a new edition comes out, and you have your people that, oh, hey, I don't like 5th edition. I want to stay in 3rd edition. I don't like 5th edition. I'm staying in 2nd. Okay, fine. You have your favorites. You can stay there. But for guys like me, it's like, well, you know what? As the game progresses, as new people come in, I want to grow also, and I want to go to these new editions and make sure new players are getting old experience and new experience, and we build a new world together. And they're taking that ability away from us. A guy like me, if I don't give Hasbro my money and subscribe to whatever Hasbro expects of me to pay them, I can't function in that world anymore. They're basically banning me from the world I helped build. You know, one book at a time, one game at a time. Their novels, their cartoons, their video games, their action figures. I bought it all, and I have a ridiculous amount of bookshelf that is mine and my wife's books, starting all the way from Chainmail, the original game that came out, up into 5th edition books that are out now. Hell, I have one within arm's reach right now because I was reading the damn thing, preparing for my players in the coming weeks. They're within arm's reach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's really detrimental because as a creator myself, and I'm not on YouTube. I don't have a TV show, a cartoon. I don't have a live play like some of these people do. But that means now I can't give the type of game my players want or expect. And if we want to survive, then I have to subscribe to whatever Hasbro wants me to subscribe to, so I can continue making new content. In
the sense of growth as a company like this, you get your money from selling books, selling merchandise, and then that's pretty much it. And then you got to sit on these things, right?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like this game is profitable
to begin with.
I don't want to speak out of turn because it is. I don't want to speak out of turn because it probably is a very profitable entity.
But the thing is my thing is I'm just gonna like Brian said, I'm just gonna be like the bad cop, good cop kind of shit. How does this company become bigger than it is and give us what we want and continue to evolve if it's easier for the people who subscribe to it that they can just make money off of it when they're not an actual creative entity?
Or pay somebody $1 for something and keep it in that realm of the community.
Like, that's the thing that I'm trying to comprehend with. Like, I get that there's a lot of fan-made based stuff that you can do, and there's a lot of creation. But in that essence, as a person who does create, do you feel that the company does deserve some type of revenue from that?
So the reality, D&D and Wizards of the Coast have been receiving ridiculous amounts of profit and revenue. Because yes, we can create content ourselves and we can sell it for whatever we're going to sell it for. But we all need and want the base books. And this comes down to brand loyalty. And a solid example of this is Coca-Cola and a Coke float, or A&W root beer and a root beer float, right? I can get any soda I want and shove it with some vanilla ice cream and make whatever the hell float I'm going to make. But as a brand loyalist, I'm going to go buy a Coke every single time, and I want my Coke float. Or as a brand loyalist, I want my root beer, and I'm going to go make a root beer float. So D&D, every year during COVID, made over $1 billion in profit. Higher than
everybody stuck at home doing that thing.
Yeah, higher than their estimated revenue was meant to be. So they made a billion more than they thought they were going to make every year, and the number just kept going higher and higher and higher. Yeah.
But when you do something like that, there's this thing that you can get away with. Like you said, like you can make a Coke float. You're not going to give shit to Coca-Cola. But what about Sonic? What about Whataburger? What about Burger King? If they want to make a Coke float, they can't just go off and use Coke as a brand and put it in there and then make money.
Proves my point, and what George has kind of been preaching.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's
bigger stuff. Deal and licensing for a large corporation to deal with.
Yeah,
because the profit I'm making is nothing compared to what
they're making,
Whataburger and what they are making.
Yeah,
those are deals made behind closed doors on how to streamline revenue from those heavy sources. But to deny your entire fan base the ability to help your product grow kills your product. And that leads into, what George has been following this probably as heavy as I've been all week.
Yeah. He's a businessman.
Bringing up a good point that all these companies that are third-party content companies that are big companies like Critical Role and these guys are starting to announce that they are just going to make their own systems now. A great example, there's a company called Kobold Press that is a massive third-party content creator. I don't know if I have their monster manual on the table anywhere, but they create this material for us to use solely with D&D. To use their products, you have to go buy the D&D 5th edition books. So for me to be able to take all the monsters out of this book, out of the Tomb of Beasts, I have to use 5th edition books, 5e books.
He's got tabs in it and shit. You see that? That's when you know he's legit. He's got tabs in his book.
Yeah, I got the next level of
fucking little tabs. He ain't just like pulling books out of nowhere, just being like, "Look at this one." No, he's got tabs in that shit.
This content right here was already paying percentages to Wizards of the Coast, which allowed them to make those billions of dollars extra in profit.
Okay,
but now this book can't exist anymore. Hasbro's saying this book needs to go into the
obsolete. It's obsolete.
Yeah, it's obsolete. Yeah, and anything these companies make from now on, you owe the bulk of your revenue, not your profit, your revenue to us.
Question.
Yes.
That's gangster, bro.
Wait, my question is now, what is it obsolete from? And what I mean by that is like, how is it that like you, Dungeon Master, the guy who runs the game, let's say you run a game, a campaign, as you say, next week. There's 7 people, and you want to use those characters. What stops you from doing it? Do you have to like register online?
That's where my confusion is coming.
Do you have to clock in?
This goes on to the VTT, the virtual tabletop, out of D&D Beyond. So the idea here is to do away completely with the most costly thing to produce for D&D, and that's physical copies of books. So they want to remove off the market physical copies of books. Mm-hmm. You have what you have, and that's it. And to get anything new from now on, to see new content, you have to subscribe to our virtual tabletop, to D&D Beyond, and through this paywall and microtransactions is the only way to get the new things.
Doesn't that raise the value of the shit that you have now that's deemed obsolete? Like, I would be rejoicing right now, personally. Like, if I had some 2 edition, like second edition, first edition shit, and they're saying, all right, well, all that's done is obsolete now, it's just gonna raise the value of that shit, bro. I'd be like, yeah, well, whatever.
Does this kind of correlate the idea that fucking Wizards of the whatever the fuck or D&D, that they're real equivalent to EA with their bullshit that they pulled off on like Battlefront and
literally the microtransaction,
very fucking microtransaction bullshit? Is this kind of like the same concept?
Yeah, it's the same concept. And, Brian, to your point, you should be rejoicing because you have a collector's item and all that jazz. Yeah, I mean, technically, yes. But we're book collectors. We don't want to sell our fucking books.
I'm not saying you have to sell it, but number one, I hear what you're saying. I'm just, for some reason, I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around how they plan on executing this to where it would affect the whole
because you can just fucking do a tabletop at your house.
Exactly.
So you don't need to be virtual.
That's the reason why I'm not really like, I get it, but I don't know what
Brian's saying, and I kind of feel like the question has to be like, as a person who hosts games, does that mean now you have to be part of a database that you host games and you do them every week, you're scheduled, and Wizard of West Coast or Dungeons and Dragon knows exactly when and where you do your shit because there's protocol now.
So that's
part of a Dungeons and Dragons union.
Yeah, so that's some of the discourse with D&D Beyond. Because for me to be a functional DM on D&D Beyond, I have to pay for that level of subscription.
There we go.
I have to pay to make myself a DM. I have to pay for DM materials. I do get some extra perks. And then I have to register the amount of players that are playing in my game. And I have to give them access to certain things. They have to be able to save their character sheets to my game. And that becomes all things that can be tracked and monitored. So it's
why do you have to do? I'm sorry. Why do you have to do all that?
Well, because that's the system they want to go with it. Like myself, I've been doing this for so long that I don't need to. I can get a blank notebook with the school paper, college roll paper, and build everything from scratch. But you have new players that cannot do that. So people are going to get stuck there, and that's what caused the anger about it. Because you told us all these years that we were creating and we were building and we were supporting our product. Mm-hmm. That you made us invest in this thing so much that we loved it and we wanted to keep it going. And then all of a sudden we're the assholes because you told us to build this, but we're stealing from you. And now you want us to pay you for certain things.
Yeah.
So we got angry and going to the point where you guys don't understand or don't see how they're going to execute this thing. It's because they did this very half-assed. They had a meeting with some of the biggest companies out there. And one of the bigger companies said, "Fuck this! We're going to leak this letter and the cease and desist you gave us, so the community at large can see what you're doing." So all of us basic fans saw, and we started canceling their D&D Beyond subscription. Yeah, they lost so much revenue. They lost 85% of their total subscribers to D&D Beyond in 1 week.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, it just doesn't make it. Just like I'm trying to. It doesn't just. It's not equating in my head like how they're able to do this and still think they're gonna make a profit at the end of the day. I don't think this was.
You know what this kind of reminds me of? This reminds me of recently there was a law that was passed called the Right to Repair. And what it is they were trying to pass a bill, and I don't know if it got passed, where people cannot get independent parts to fix computers or things for your car that are small. You have to buy them in big modules. So like, let's say you need to fix a headlight, right? You would just go buy the light at Walmart, $15, snap it in, $5 or whatever. Now they're saying you have to buy the whole fucking lamp cover, everything, because it's modular. And it's the companies making more money because people aren't going to mechanics anymore. They can fix it on their own. This correlates to like the farmers who fix their own tractors. They buy a $300,000 fucking tractor and they never take it into some diesel mechanic because they don't need to. They don't need to take it to the shop. So it makes it obsolete as a product. This goes all the way down to video games nowadays and movies, Adobe Photoshop, you know, things that are based on subscription, not owning a physical copy. I kind of feel like this correlates that way. Like sooner or later, Dungeons and Dragons is going to make it to where, or Dungeons and Dragons will make it to where like you can only do PDF. You cannot own a physical copy of the game. And it's only licensed people that can run these games. And that's the way they're going to kind of like siphon people to only pay them to do it.
Yeah, but then that doesn't seem profitable. Number one.
Same thing like Adobe. Look at Adobe. They only charge. Yeah, they only charge $9 for Photoshop. Like I don't know if anybody's into it, but in Adobe, you buy it by subscription now. $9, you get your Photoshop, another $9, you get Premiere, another $9, and you make money off of it doing your projects. But the thing is it's nonstop. It's not where you pay it for 12 months and then you get the full version. For the rest of your life, you're gonna pay $9. And you have 150,000 people that are subscribed to it at $9 every month. You're never gonna not need money. That's always flowing in, because they need to go to that process. That's why I've always been against not having hard copies of stuff, dude. I hate that idea.
Yeah, and to give credence to what both you're saying, you know, Brian, you'll understand how this is profitable. It's not. In no way was this idea profitable, and it was a massive fuck up to.
I think that's my issue, Mike. And I'm sorry to cut you off. That's my issue. Like this entire time you've been talking, I've been sitting here listening to you, trying to wrap my head around why they would fucking do this, because this does not seem profitable at all.
Yeah, it doesn't seem profitable.
And that's the goal. That's the end goal. The whole reason for them doing this is to turn a profit, is to make some money. And it just, I'm failing to see where they're coming to that conclusion.
This is where the disconnect happened. And George brings it up perfectly in the comments. George, I'm really glad you mentioned it, because this is some shit. When this document leaked, we weren't called consumers. We weren't called fans. We weren't called content creators. We were obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit.
We have to get the obstacles out of the way to make more money. They had to get our old asses out of the way so they could find a way to make more money.
To make more money.
Yeah.
That's the way it be sometimes.
Yeah, they talked mad shit. And it came down from the higher ups in Hasbro to Wizards of the Coast to enact this. So people that don't touch this game, that don't understand this game, old ass business owners that want more billions of dollars and want to find it any way they can, and all they understand is video games and tech makes money. We want this to be a video game, and we want to do microtransactions to make more money.
Let me ask you a question, Mike. If you were sitting face to face with one of these executives making this decision, what would you say to them? What would your questions be? Like, would you have anything to say to them at this point?
I don't have any questions, because, I mean, as we've seen, I look at things from both a humanistic standpoint and a financial standpoint. I understand
a business standpoint. Yes.
Yeah, I know what they want and I know what they need.
Yes.
So it wouldn't have been a question. I would have said, you should have asked us how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
We have been building this content for you since the late 80s, all the way up to last month before this damn document came up. You know, you should have asked us how to make more money. You really should have.
Yep. Good point. Good point. Mike, if there was overall, what would you do to change or to make this a better deal? What would you want them to do rather than the direction they're going in?
I think we've done it already. We dropped D&D Beyond as subscribers. Even myself, I'm not paying for it. They lost 85% total of every subscription to that system, and it was a popular system. So they got hurt financially, and they have pulled back the OGL 1.1a and are now going to go into negotiations to try to build a 2.0. Try to find a way to make everybody happy because they lost their ass. D&D and Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro released a statement that tried to paint themselves in a good light. That
see, I don't like that. I don't like that.
The exact, I'll paraphrase, but as close as I can get to the exact quote was, "We have heard your concerns, and we don't want you to think you won. We believe we won also." Don't
fucking patronize me, bro. Don't fucking patronize me. If that's your stance, stand on that shit, bro. Like, stand on it, and then we'll make you bleed until you have no choice but to. And then we'll put out a statement saying, "No, we won, motherfuckers."
They're gonna have
there's no us won.
So what happened?
They got Sonic eyes, bro. That's what I call Sonic eyes. That's like the Sonic movie came out. They gave him some real eyes and some teeth, and the community were like, "Nah, fuck that. You better change that shit right now." And they were like, "Okay, we're sorry." And then when they changed that shit, and everybody watched Sonic. That's what happened to D&D. They got Sonic eyes,
and that's where they made the mistake. It's I don't want to toot the content creators' horns here too much, but as a community, we kept this game alive when it was literally satanic. When churches were hunting people down to burn these books,
when everything was
we kept this game alive. We kept this game alive during the yuppie and flannel eras in the 90s, 2000s when we weren't cool, up until recent times when all of a sudden D&D is cool. And I remember the only reason I didn't get bullied for playing Dungeons and Dragons is because I was 6 foot and 250 pounds bigger than most football players in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're a big dude.
If they had just asked us how to make it more profitable, we would say, "Hey, you know what? Let's make this new content, adapt these old stories." We literally just got one. I have the book somewhere on this table from the Dragonlance series. And I live and breathe that series of novels. They just released a new one 3 months ago that I bought it and read it in 2 weeks. And I'm waiting for the next one to come out in 3 months. And I've been dying for it. If they had just asked us how to do it, we could have done this because we were all invested. I mean, I'll get off my fucking soapbox right here. And look, see, my wife. My favorite villain with soft on the cover, but Vince asked, Michael and D&D, what is your favorite match you played and least favorite? And they're with the same character. And this is how long I've been invested with this game. I had a character named Joseph Dragonslayer, which was my very first character I ever played in D&D. And Joseph was dubbed Dragonslayer because he was the worst paladin in his class. A giant red dragon with a blackguard, which was an anti-paladin back in the day, came in and attacked the church, attacked his home and his training center, and killed everybody there. And the red dragon picked up my character and shook him. And in second edition, we had a mechanic called a system shock, that if you could do 50 points of damage or more in one hit, a creature would have to roll dice to see if it survived that much hurt in one shot. So it shook my character. My sword flew out of my hands because I was a level 1 peon. I couldn't hold the damn thing compared to a giant dragon. The sword went into its eye. It did 56 points of damage. The DM rolled percentile, and I killed the fucking thing.
I killed it. Boba Fett of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, so the worst knight became this legendary character that had to progress, and I played that character campaign for 20 years. In real time.
That's awesome.
For 20 years, that campaign continued up until the worst moment that I had in that campaign was being killed by giant spiders and having to be resurrected. To the point now, every character I make, the other players at the table that remember that story say, hey, be careful. There's spiders. And like, fuck you guys, fucking spiders. To the way it ended, my end, the way I got my climatic story was I was a Catholic paladin. So my bad guy, it was the devil. Satan was my penultimate villain. And I had pissed his ass off for 20 years in real time that he went to kidnap my wife and take her to hell. So as I think I was a level 22 paladin by then, which was epic level stuff. It's unheard of in the system at that early age. I went and I put together an army of other holy knights, army of angels and celestial beings, and I walked into the gates of hell and stated, I have come to demand the surrender of hell. And that was my end. We ended the story there. The story went on to become legend in other games with other characters. Hell, the DM from that game actually wrote my character story and got that book published. So now when my son is old enough, I'm going to read that book to my son so he knows the story of Joseph Dragonslayer.
Nice.
Oh, that's so cool.
Now, that's a really good story, though. I like that.
That's really cool. That is really, really cool. Yeah. Mike?
So if they had just asked us, if they just asked, what do we do next? We would have told them. We want these things, and we do. We bitch and moan all the time on, hey, this book's content was a little weak here. We want these monsters stronger. And that's what the third-party content creators are doing for us. It's okay. In the Dragonlance book, we understand the Death Knight, Lord Soth, is weaker than he was in 2nd edition. So with this thing you can buy from us, we'll do all the work for you, and we'll make him just as strong as he was then to make him function in the new system. Because then if not, then I got to spend an entire damn day doing math that I fucking hate to try to make this thing work for my players now. So they understand how scary this villain really is.
Nice, dude. Nice. Mike, I got to say, man, I appreciate you coming on the show. You always fucking bring such good knowledge, and this shit was super important. Super crazy, though, man. Super fucking crazy. Mike, what do we got going on, man? What do we got going on, Reasons? What's up?
Wait, Mike, you're leaving us, bro?
Well, it's 11 o'clock. We close the show at 11. It's 12 for you right now, Brian, ain't it?
Yeah, it is.
But we do have some other stuff that we could talk about, but I don't want to keep everybody up too late. We're trying to keep the show pushing for 2 hours.
Nah, dog. Fuck that. We gotta watch. Ant-Man. We going over Ant-Man. Fuck that, yo. We're going over Ant-Man. That trailer is way too good to fucking not talk about with our fucking nerd people.
Okay.
Like
Brian, not Brian,
Mike,
are you down to watch?
I'll watch the Ant-Man trailer. It's a really damn good trailer. It really is.
It's a fucking good trailer, bro. It's a good trailer. And we don't have to get into it, but shout out to fucking Stella got a groove back. Angela Bassett for winning the Golden Globes for Best Supporting Actress.
Oh, she deserves that.
Yeah, we
motherfucker. You're goddamn right. She deserved that shit. Yeah. She did a phenomenal job, and she fucking killed that role. She deserves everything that she deserves. I think she's gonna get multiple awards for this.
What's the director's name? You should not have killed off your best fucking actress.
Yeah,
That's harsh, man. She did.
Ryan Coogler, but honestly, I don't know if Ryan Coogler is gonna be doing much more for Marvel. I think that might have been it.
Well, I heard they're already working on part 3.
I don't know how much more he's gonna do. Maybe one more, but yeah.
But honestly, storyline-wise, maybe it's too much of a deep dive for us right now. But with the way she played her character for the second one, I think it ended perfectly. It made it hurt so much just hearing the line, haven't I given enough or whatever the actual line is, man. And then for her to, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't ruin it. I don't know. People still haven't seen the bloody thing. It's been out forever, though.
It's on fucking.
Yo, are you kidding me, bro? Like, nah. There has to be there has to be a statute of limitations to where we have to give people to see a movie. It's been out for how long, bro? Like,
it's already.
I'm sorry, man.
So here we go, guys. This past week they dropped Ant-Man Quantumania trailer. This is, I believe, the big one that came out during San Diego Comic-Con, the one that a lot of people didn't get to see. Now it's released full video. I'm not sure if this is the one that they were going to push for the Super Bowl, but yeah, man, we're going to check it out. I want y'all to check it out with us. Thank you guys so much for being with us. Let's check it out. Real cool. Let's get this.
Can't hear it. Still can't hear it.
Can you hear it?
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Really?
Negative.
What in the hell? All right, let's see if I can get this fixed. Boo, crispy, boo. All right, let's do this again. Screen share. Let's go entire screen. Share with audio. Now let's check it.
There you go.
Hey,
you're an interesting man. Scott Lang. You're an Avenger. You have a daughter, but you've lost a lot of time, like me. We can help each other with that.
I mean, we've seen all this part, right?
Who are you? I'm the man who can give you the one thing you want. What's that?
Good stuff. Is that nanotech?
I don't know how I feel about that, yo.
Rewrite
Okay.
existence
Yeah, we're talking about that.
and shatter timelines. You cannot trust him.
I don't care who this guy is.
A big ass head in the
I just
back,
lost
dude.
so much.
Bounce a quarter off that shit.
It looks so bad.
Give us a second chance.
I still don't know how I feel about the story yet. I'm not really all that invested in that, man.
Nah, this story is gonna be fucking the tits, bro.
I feel it.
Everything you call a life will end.
This is all my fault.
Kinda is.
You may not want her to watch this.
We had a deal.
Yo, Jonathan Major's gonna whip that ass, man.
Thought you could win.
Look at that shit.
I don't have to win. We both just have to lose.
How is Scott Lang hanging with him in a fight?
I'm sorry,
Ain't hanging with
Jesse.
nothing, man.
That was badass. I'm gonna be honest with you, gentlemen. I've watched that trailer an obscene amount of times. To be honest with you, man, and I've analyzed it. It's got me pumped, bro. What about you guys?
Nanotech.
What about you guys, yo? You guys,
I'm
are you
good.
interested to see this
I am
movie?
pumped. Yep, I'm gonna see
I
it.
mean, it's cool. Like, I've never really been that big of like an Ant-Man fan. Now that they're putting Kang, like the major villain, into the next series, like I think it kind of invests me a little bit more. Kang looks amazing. He looks right out of the comic books, which thank God they finally did it because they fucked Gore the God Butcher up. And I was really about that shit. So thank God. But as you can tell, Brian, I am going to agree with you that sometimes bringing comic books to life doesn't really look good. As you can see, MODOK
It
looks
passed.
like a
Listen,
fucking-
it passed. Everything passes the Chris test except for MODOK. I already knew that.
Oh, no,
and
MODOK looks
it
cool.
looks
Like,
bad
I
though.
just
It looks
knew it was
bad.
gonna look
though.
weird as fuck. Like,
It
there's
looks
no way
bad,
they're gonna
though.
pull that shit off and make it look normal. Like, there's just
I
no
mean,
way.
literally, he's a giant ass head.
He's
on
a head with little
fucking
arms and legs
How
in the
are you
comics.
gonna-
Like, you can't pull that shit, but he's got like little hair or whatever. You can't pull that shit off. So, like, for them to try it, at least they're doing something cool. They could have
I
made it
want-
look like
I
fucking.
want
I
to know if
don't
they're
know.
going to keep the same meaning for his name that they have in the comics. He's
Yeah.
a mechanical organism designed only for killing. Like,
Yeah.
is that what
But then
MODOK
again, it's like they made that fucking, what is it, that Disney Plus show, or what is it, the Hulu show, and they kind of made it like a comedy thing,
Yeah.
which of course in the comic books he's always been like this C-level villain that's really intelligent, but he always hangs around with like the Bobs of the science world. Like they all kind of like just screw up all the time.
He controls AIM, which
Yeah.
it has.
And they're all
the
just like
volume.
Deadpool villains. Like they're all Deadpool characters in the background.
I
They're
do
like
think
dudes that
that
just go home at the end of the day. Like
I do
you know,
think
they
we're
fucking-
getting like a AIM shout out in this movie. From what I heard, like that's
think
going
so.
to carry on into this movie.
You know how I think this is gonna play out is I think Scott Lang is gonna be the reason or like a purpose how Kang, of course, is gonna get out with a different means of technology, but I think he's gonna be the purpose of how the ship gets destroyed in the first place.
I don't think he gets out, yo.
Oh, I don't think Ant-Man's getting out. No, I don't think
No, I don't think King gets out this movie.
Oh, you don't think so?
No.
What I think he does is I think what's his face is gonna fucking shoot a bunch of his like little shit around his ship, and those pieces are gonna be like Kamala Khan's bracelet. They're all gonna be little parts of the ship, and that's why they're beaconing like at the end of all those shows, like the 10 rings. Like a lot of people said, those big rings that are around that are floating are part of the 10 rings, and it's like, well, what if those are the 10 rings? And Scott Lang just shot them and turned them small, like into bracelet size shit. You know what I mean? And that's how they got out, and that's how they're able to do some like crazy, like almost reality warping things in the real world. So like, yeah, I kind of feel like those are going to be Kang's part of his ship or like weapons from his inventory. But
this
there's a
movie
lot
is
of-
big. This
Yeah, I
this
think it's
movie is
huge.
big. Like this is going, and I don't mean like big on the sense of it being amazing. I think like being that you're coming off of Phase 4, which let's call it spade a spade. It's been lackluster for the most part.
Yeah.
This is going to be the movie that sets the tone for your brand new phase.
Mhm.
This is gonna have to be a big movie. So if you come out and if all you're gonna give me is a fire trailer, but the movie, like you said, you're not sold on the story, but you're giving me some weak story and the best parts is from the trailer, this is not gonna be good, yo.
Yeah,
No, I
because
think
the other
it's
thing too
the
is like,
tone for how rough this movie is going to be story wise. Just with the line with Kang telling Scott, "You can't win," and him saying, "I don't need to win. We both just need to lose." I think that will set the tone for what's coming with Phase 5.
but you see, that kind of worries me also.
Wakanda Forever and the losses we had there, and introduction of new heroes and new villains. It's just perpetual loss, and it's going to have to be something new. And I think that allows us as viewers to accept that what happened in Phase 4 has happened. We're going to have to look at it new now and start fresh again.
But in the aspect of it too, like in that part, like it's like Brian said, like how is Kang getting in a fist fight with Ant-Man and they're both rolling around losing parts of his clothes, and this guy's supposed to fight the entire Young Avengers roster, Secret Wars roster, Avengers. How's this guy supposed to put fist fights up against all those other characters?
I mean, just
Ant-Man, the weakest
you need to
one.
understand that although Kang the Conqueror is the Conqueror and badass, he's just tech.
He's human.
Yeah,
He's a human being.
that's understandable.
And he's a person, and we don't know what's happened up to that point. That looks like it's probably the last damn fight. So who knows what the rest of the crew has
And
done.
honestly, I think once he gets where he needs to go on his arc in this phase, he's going to look incredibly different at the end of this. Like, I know you're saying, like, how is he going? Like, he's having a fist fight with Scott Lang. It's just the first iteration. He is going to get stronger and stronger as these movies go along. And I think by the time it's all said and done, once we get to like the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, he is going to be like past Thanos strong, and it's gonna get weird.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's one of those things like, I mean, yeah, it's early iterations, right? I think, Brian, you said you kind of had the opportunity to see some stuff that's supposed to be like considered spoiler territory.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to get into it now, but yeah, there's, if you just look, if you go out there and just look, there's a lot of speculations, a lot of rumors about what's going on.
Yeah,
And where
but
this
even
is
right
going.
now, they're still doing reshoots right now, and
Yeah.
apparently the other thing is Marvel pushed back Secret Wars by a year. So Secret Wars, it looks like they're trying to embed a lot of other IPs into the address before Secret Wars comes out. Now, why do you guys think about that? Why do you think they'd be pushing Secret Wars back?
I don't know. I mean, if we're not gonna have the mutants and or some significant villains, again going into spoilers that I've read about, I don't know why you would push it back. Like, for me, that just means that they're trying to incorporate certain characters, and hopefully it's the ones that we want. Yeah.
Yeah, we're probably going to be looking at that pushback means that they have a hold of some IPs and some characters that we're not supposed to know about yet, and they're trying to do this as quietly as possible. And if you look for the spoilers, they're out there, and the rumors are who's in this film and all that jazz. There's some ridiculous ones, but I do believe that's what's happening. What Brian is saying, that they pushed it back because they're trying to shove these IPs in there so they can start making sense in the world. And when we do get that war, it's going to be the big reveal.
Am I the only one that thinks that like Phase 5 is gonna get crazy? But not only that, but I think Phase 5 is gonna get crazy. But from here on out, I think the gloves are off, dude. Like, I think this is gonna get weird, and it's gonna get weird fast. Like, this is gonna get crazy.
They got to stay on the ball because
this shit's gonna get
only
crazy.
got like 2 or 3 years to make this. But they got to pull this off in 3 years.
Yeah, I think things are gonna intensify.
Because think about it, like in the next 2 years, they got to drop Kang Dynasty, and Kang Dynasty by itself seems fucking way far-fetched. Time travel, going backwards and forwards, iterations of different characters. In fact, they're about to drop the Ant-Man Quantumania movie, and you have a scene where there's like 50, 60 Ant-Men running around. them needing to explain that if those are different multiverse versions or if those are just different time displaced versions, not from a different universe, the same guy, but seconds, minutes, hours, years later in between.
I've seen that argument, but you're gonna have to convince me otherwise, because this guy, it's not like he's pulling them from a different realm. They're coming from him.
Yeah,
He's
timeline. That's what I'm saying. It's timeline.
No, it's not timeline. He's multiplying. It's not a timeline. They're coming from his body. He's multiplying. I think that he's in a space, or he's in an area, and this is one of the spoilers that I heard. The reason why Kang needs him to go down there and apparently to get this battery or this life force or whatever to power his chair. And the reason why he doesn't go down there is because at that point he will risk multiplying Kangs. We can't have that, because then we'll have the fucking we'll have the multiverse war all over again. He can't go down. He can't go down there. So he sends Ant-Man down there, and then he's multiplying himself in order to get to this whatever he's getting.
That'd be interesting. That'd be an interesting way to do it.
My thing is for Scott Lang as Ant-Man. I mean, if you're going to do anything, you need a hive of ants to make a tower that tall.
That's all the characters.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, I mean, the other thing too is like you can't. And then, going back to what I was talking about, you get the Kang Dynasty in 2 years, and then the following year you literally get Secret Wars. And I'll put my fucking foot down right now: is you cannot have Secret Wars without Doctor Doom.
Well,
like you cannot have Secret Wars without Doctor Doom. And me and Brian hit me up this week and was like, I don't know, man, what do you feel about this? And I was like, if they give Kang the powers of the Beyonder and have him sit as Doctor Doom in the God Doom series of Secret Wars, which was the recent one in 2015, I mean, they could pull it off. Jonathan Majors, I have no quips with. But it takes away from the character of Doctor Doom, because what else arc-wise do you run with Doctor Doom when you introduce him? If not that biggest moment in his comic book character history.
I don't know about that. I'm sure Doom has had plenty of arcs that you can go down the lines.
And Secret Wars 2, man. Those are like, I mean, in my opinion, probably the two of the best stories he's ever been in.
I will agree with you that this is a wild way of going about this, because the biggest that I know of is, and just even recently, I think I told you, like I went down the line of Kang and all that stuff, and he is intertwined with Doom. So if you're gonna have a whole Kang arc and you don't include Doctor Doom, I don't see how you pull that off.
And that means you have to have the Fantastic Four to introduce Doctor Doom, like, because that's the only way you produce his emotional build as a character is through the lives of Reed Richards and Sue Storm.
Yeah, and then of course, like forecasting rumors that came out this past week as well. You know, we're looking at that making more sense.
Yeah. So that's why I think they're really pushing back Secret Wars, is because they want to introduce these characters. I don't know how I feel right now, like I said, about Quantumania. It's coming out in a couple of weeks, and I'm going to go watch it, because why the fuck not? You know what I mean? Like, this is the jump of Kang the Conqueror in the series. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I think Kang the Conqueror has been a very convoluted character, in several years of the comic books. So for them to bring him into the series and the movies, I think it's gonna be a big fucking hard ass fucking like a hard ass pull. And interesting thing is, Jonathan Majors recently came out in an interview and they asked him, well, if you were gonna get in a fight with any Avenger as Kang, who would it be? And the first dude he said is, I want to take out Thor. Fuck Thor. I want to knock it. And I'm like, bro, we see you in the trailer fucking struggling, heavy breathing with Ant-Man. How are you going to take on Thor? And it's like, the technology that he has is going to surpass Thor. Like, but of course we know that even later on in some of the comic book series, Thor is one of the last Avengers that's still fighting the Conqueror Kang. So, it's up there. It's interesting. And then of course,
if at the end of this he turns into the Beyonder, he's gonna be
he's God.
Badass. He's gonna be badass. He's gonna be badass, dude.
But the cool thing is but does that mean we get Thanos back? Because Thanos is in that series and he plays a huge role, and same thing with T'Challa, which of course we can get a displaced multiversal version of the child T'Challa grown up, and that would be an easy fix in the Marvel universe. So when they collaborate and put it all together at the end, and they make it like a one world, one multiverse thing, that's the easiest way that they can kind of fix the the situation on how they handled the T'Challa series or the Black Panther series. You get it in next 3 years, you get Shuri for a couple times, and then they bring in a multiversal version of the child, and he's an adult and he's already like, Black Panther. You know what I mean?
I think I call out Vince here real quick. Apparently he wants Kang to make out in every movie and kill all the heroes.
That'd be hard.
Yes.
He makes it up.
Well, I mean, go for it.
What are you guys looking forward to in this movie specifically? Are there anything that that you heard about that you wanted to look forward to? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, like one of the minor details that I think is very interesting is who made that beacon with Cassie. Because she references that we made it. I want to know who was with her making that.
Yeah,
and how they made that.
You're not gonna make a beacon unless you know you're trying to reach out to someone.
Apparently they made it because it started during the blimp when she lost her dad. She wanted to find him in the quantum realm, so she started with this to try to find him. He comes back, no need for it, but then she ends up finishing.
Yeah, she keeps going
the job. She ends up finishing the job. I want to know who, because if I find out it's a fucking younger Nathaniel Richards, bro, that's gonna be.
Shit, that would be interesting.
Yeah, I do believe it's going to be somebody from the Fantastic Four, or at least from the Four family. I would be okay with it being Sue or them, because they've had iterations where Sue's been a scientist as well. So I'd be okay with that. But we'll see.
That's some fucking Reed Richards shit. He's always dabbling in dumb shit like that. Like Reed Richards is the most highly intelligent dude doing dumbass shit to ruin the world. That's how Marvel Zombies happen. Marvel Zombies happened because Reed Richards made a beacon and he found another universe, but everybody was silhouetted. So he decided to make a fucking a portal to this world. And when he opened it, fucking Quicksilver ran through it,
zombies.
Fucking eating everybody's asses and shit. Like, Reed Richards is like, oh, I love science. Let me fuck up the world. Like, that's just the way it's always been. So
yeah, I think it's most likely to be somebody, like I said, from Fantastic Four. In my theory, it would make sense to be either Reed or Sue. More so Reed, and that would tie into his work studying the negative zone. And that's why this tech matches up. Reed had a certain piece for the negative zone. Cassie had a piece for the quantum realm, and they mix it to make this thing. And that's what the beacon does.
Okay. Go for it, Brian. Sorry about that.
Now, I was gonna say I would not mind that at all, 1000%. But there's just a part of me I'm hoping it's Nathaniel Richards and it's Iron Lad, and it's gonna be our first introduction to Iron Lad. I hope that's what that is.
So we do know that Marvel's shuffling some shit around, right? So one of the ones that I heard that's a major shuffle is Doctor Strange 3 is being moved up in production.
Mm-hmm.
Now the reason why is because you cannot have secret wars
without incursions. Yeah.
So it'd be weird if they did incursions or did Secret Wars and then made Doctor Strange 3 with them battling shit.
I think incursions are coming from what I've been reading it
has to be, right?
Incursions are coming quickly, like within the next 1 or 2 movies.
Like every movie that should be coming out is going to have some type of iteration where they're going to have some like multiversal problem.
One of the rumors that I heard about this Quantumania, which I don't want to talk about because I don't want to.
Wait, before you go, let me just ask you because it correlates with this. I know it does. What is the wildest fucking rumor or theory you heard is going to happen? And I have to
in this movie or just
in general in the next couple of shit. Like, what's the wildest shit you've heard? Like, Galactus is gonna like be working at Hell's Kitchen in Vegas, kind of shit. Like, what have you guys heard?
That the incursions are coming in the next movie or 2. Like, we're gonna get like the incursions are going to be a huge. Like, it's only been mentioned in Doctor Strange, but it's going to be a very big focal point in the next couple movies. It's going to be in overall it's going to be, and I think at some point within the near future we are going to get a connection between the Eternals, between Kang's tech, all of it's going to intertwine, and even magic, like where the beginning of magic even started with Wanda and all that shit. Like, I've been hearing some really crazy shit. Like, I've been hearing some really crazy shit. Like, it's all intertwined. That's
a crazy thing, because I heard that we're supposed to get like the author of the Darkhold in one of those things, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that's crazy as shit too. Like, and he's like a time traveling dude, and I'm like, god damn it, time travel. Goddamn, Mike, what about you?
The 2 craziest I've heard so far is that we're going to get a Fox character in Quantumania.
Fox character, goddamn.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys want me to say who we've heard rumors of.
I haven't heard that, so you might as well. I don't care.
Okay, so the rumor that I came across is that Famke Jensen was brought in to do shoots as Jean Grey in Quantumania. That she's going to be pulled in somehow, and that's how we're going to start introducing mutants into our worlds, one incursion at a time. And she's going to be a heavy hitter working for Kang. And then the other one that I heard is we will eventually, of course, get the Young Avengers, which is going to pull together everything. And they're going to be culminating with the Strange Academy film led by Wong teaching.
I did hear that.
Chavez.
I just heard that. Yeah.
And not only that, to correlate, they're going to be making a Disney Plus show called Vision Quest, where Vision's going to make Viv, which is his daughter, who's a part of the Young Avengers. The craziest rumor I heard literally hit me yesterday, which was apparently that they're supposed to be, I mean, I'm going to put this up there as a Doctor Doom at the ending of Wakanda Forever also. It was such a far out there theory and rumor that he was going to be like, it was me all along. I'm Agatha Doctor Doom and shit. That at the ending of Quantumania, there's supposed to be a scene where like Cassie looks up and sees some shit and then someone appears. And apparently that's supposed to be Reed Richards in the life raft with all the people surviving from a Secret Wars.
Oh, wow.
Like, just the way it happened in Secret Wars when they appeared in Secret Wars on Battleworld. Like, because when Cassie comes back, when they all come out of the quantum realm apparently at the ending of Quantumania, this is fucking wild, dude. I don't even believe this shit, like not even 1%. That when she comes back, everything's changed like Loki's, where Kang already conquered the world. And everything's already changed when she appears. That they didn't stop him and he already conquered everything. And then the life raft shows up with Reed Richards, Doctor Doom, Deadpool, like all of these, like fucking the Fox chick, the Jean Grey chick you're talking about, like all of them all of a sudden pop. Jane Foster still as Lady Thor, Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, like all of these dudes are supposed to come out of the life raft, and it's like
we're supposed to get that in this movie.
Yeah, we're supposed to get that as a post-credit scene in Quantumania.
You know how much
Can you
fucking
imagine how wild that shit is? I mean, I get it.
Shit.
Like if Doctor or like, okay, if Kang leaves the quantum realm, when he gets out, they do like one of those time jump shits where like, oh, the whole world has been changed. I could see that happening. And then the Young Avengers have to appear and stop him and go back in time and do that shit. I get it. But like the life raft is like, that's like a straight pull from the comics, which I could see that. But it wasn't until they started like listing everyone, which was like they even listed Morbius on the life raft. And I was like, dude, when I saw that shit, I was like, the fuck out of here. Like you had
it will fade to black with him saying it's Morbin time.
It's Morbin time.
You just couldn't help yourself, could you, Mike? Couldn't help yourself.
That fucked me up, dude.
I got a buddy that I torture with that shit daily. Like you
couldn't help yourself.
Dude, I'm about it. I think it's super crazy. I am excited to a bit for Ant-Man, the Quantumania, because of the fact of Jonathan Majors, the Kang character. We've talked about this before, how he needs to be established already. He needs to be pushed forward. We need to see what makes him this devilish character based on time. And then, of course, there's the Hollywood variation of like, how do they establish time travel and the multiverse as like this overall arcing villainous thing that Hollywood has never done before.
This is going to be funny watching them try to stick with their bullshit time traveling thing.
It's hard, man. Can you imagine how confusing all that's just going to be?
Well, no, because like they should have just made it simple and made it like the Back to the Future fucking shit. Like just like every other fucking stuff. It's very simple. Because now you're going to get yourself in a situation where you're going to be dealing with someone that's strictly dealing with time travel, and you're going to have to stick to those bullshit rules. Yep. That's going to be rough.
And that's the thing is like, that's why I can say like Kang as a villain, being that he's going to be here for like maybe 2-3 years rather than it be like the 10 that they did with Thanos. Like, since he's so convoluted in the sense of what he can do as a power, you can't really delve into it that much because you're going to confuse the fuck out of the audience.
And with time travel alone, I mean, we get the end game situation already. The series fit.
I'm still not 100% sure on that, Mike. Like, I'm still even like 100% sure what the fuck they're talking about. Like, I get it in theory, but like, it doesn't make sense because like the whole Captain America going back and changing shit, like that would create more branches, though. No,
but that would create more branches. Yeah,
that's what Loki helped establish. You know, the idea that whatever we do is going to make more branches. And I think that's what we're going to have to see dealt with Doctor Strange 3. These incursions are happening because there are so many damn branches now. Okay. So it doesn't matter.
But how did it create
how much Kang breaks and how much they might have to pull from everywhere, because it's just understood that
the part that confused me. The part that confused me was like, well, how did Captain America stay, and how did the Hulk, Bucky, and Sam Wilson stay in the same spot, and the branch changed just by making Captain America old and there at that moment? Like, how did it change without them realizing it? Well, I mean, they wouldn't realize it changed, but how come nothing changed? Like, nothing changed. Like, the world didn't change. You know, the aspect didn't change.
If I remember correctly, the way Loki explained it is they have their primary timeline that they're sitting on, right? That's the one that our main characters or whatever the series is we're watching. And that's what Cap went and changed, the main timeline he's on. So that means there was two Steve Rogers at all times. There was the old man that was living his life and whatever, and then the young one doing his thing, fighting the last fight, all that jazz. And then you get to the funeral, he's old, he's there, and he's like, I'm not going to talk about my life, blah, 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 I'm not going back, this is it. But from that timeline, we had a shit ton of breakoffs. We have this web that is spread out now that I think will start to connect to the Madam Web series that's going to be coming out, the Spider-Verse movie, you know, all these variations in time that are going to make things massively confusing for general audiences, but allow Marvel to say, fuck it, we can pick any IP we have now and toss it in, because somewhere in our universe it exists. We only have to baseline explain it to you, because it's multiversal now and they're just variants.
Next week, I know we don't have time, but next week we need to get into that story. And I want you guys, I'm not sure if you're gonna be here next week, but Chris, I want you to do some research on Disney and the fact that they're broke. and we're over here like talking about the future. Yeah, talking about the future of the MCU, bro. They might be in some trouble, dude.
Yeah, from what I've heard, they're in a pickle.
They're fucked. Yeah, they're fucked.
And you know what? That was another part of the conversation I want to have earlier too, which was
how are they broke? How are they broke? We don't get into it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it's just too much. I think it's too much to even try to cover right now. I think a lot of people are just tired of the bullshit politics that surrounds their IPs, and they just don't want to be involved because of that stuff anymore. Like, they're just tired of it. Yeah, it's there's a lot that's got to cover. DC recently released a character named Circuit Breaker, who is a transgender male who is masculine but is non-binary or something, like a big thing. Yeah. But it's a whole new character. And I was going to say, like, how do we feel about that? Because I have been one of those people that's been on the fence about what they've been doing recently, but here they are trying to build on a whole new, brand new character that they're giving their relations to. Like, how do we feel about this? Like, is it still something that, is it being at least somewhat, okay, cool, let's give it a chance because you're doing it brand new? Or is the community still at arms, and is it still based on the fact that they don't want to hear about the LGBT, the outrage in the LGBT community with it? Because, I mean, for me, it's one of those things, like, I've always been upset because they just take IPs from the certain characters and they just switch it, like, just going on, rather than them just create a whole new character. And now that's what we have. We have a whole new character to play with. So I'm excited for it. I want to see what they do and if the writers can handle it and not be too forceful and build it with heart and see where it goes from there. But I wanted to see what the community was going to think about it.
No, so on my end, I think it's about damn time DC made a new character.
Right?
I mean, it's fine that we can repackage Nightwing 10,000 damn times, and Batman and Superman and Superboy. I mean, they just released their Super Sons cartoon last month. I mean, I get it, but they need new characters. You know, legacy characters are fine, but I want to see what someone new is going to.
Yeah, I want to see it grow. Grow.
And honestly, there's a large fan base out there in the LGBTQ plus community that are looking for characters they can identify with, that they want to be a part of. Yeah, and give it to them. I mean, I don't understand why we wouldn't.
Yep. And let's just hope they buy comics, because that's the problem with the situation is a lot of them want representation, a lot of them want characters, but none of them actually invest in the IPs that they want to claim that need to be out there doing this kind of stuff. Yeah. So let's hope that they buy the comics and build on the character. Gentlemen, I think that's going to be the ending of the show. You guys did fantastic. Thank you guys so much. Michael, thank you so much for jumping on the show with us. I know we kept you on here and we allow you to talk your crazy stuff. Sorry about the Andrew Tate talk, but I'm glad you got in there. And got
what do you mean sorry, yo? He was in his glory, bro. He couldn't wait to get that shit out, bro. Like, don't apologize to this man.
And it's horrible. Like I live
on the child where he touched you and shit.
I live a very controlled life with my opinions because of what I do for a living. So very rarely do people.
We don't do that here.
Yeah, very rarely do I get people to get it out of me where I'm annoyed with certain things. And Brian just seems to find the damn topics that I'm passionate on. But I think that's why he enjoys my ass coming on here, because he's like, I'm gonna piss him off. No reason to go.
No, it's not even about pissing. It's not even about pissing you off. It's just like I like to engage, and I like when I am engaging. I like people to show emotion. I like people to tell me exactly what is on their mind. Like I don't give a fuck about Andrew Tate. I really could care less about this guy. But I don't see people talking about him. It's weird.
But Michael, I wanted to ask you what's been going on. What do we got coming up? You know, hit us up. I know you got an event coming.
Yeah, I have Storytellers and Legends Convention happening February 20th to February 26th. It's a literary pop culture convention, so we're focusing on writing, pop culture, and geek culture, and the reality that those are real careers that you can have.
I like it.
Yeah, I grew up in a time where my mother understood that I loved geek culture, I loved comic books, but the message was, Miko, you're never gonna get a job drawing Spider-Man because people from the Valley don't do that. And I went to school and I got my degrees and everything, and I got the papers for the jobs, and I went and did the jobs. And now I do Comic Cons and I do geek culture shows and I hang out with celebrities and do all the weird things that I never thought I could. So now we developed this week-long show that Monday through Friday are school field trips for school districts, and the weekend will be a traditional convention to showcase that these are real jobs. The things you love can pay the bills. It'll be hard to do it, but you can get there. And we're bringing in authors. We're bringing in gentleman Tab Murphy, who wrote Tarzan, Heart of Atlantis, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and Brother Bear for Disney. He wrote to those films, so he's going to come and tell kids how to do that. We have some voice actors that are coming in, and we have a voice actor that's in My Hero Academia that's from the Rio Grande Valley. He graduated from PSJA. So he's going to be here at our convention showing that, hey, I'm from Far San Juan Alamo, and I went and I made a career out of this.
Nice. That's awesome.
It's a different type of convention. It's focused, like I said, on education. And I just today, we're going to be announcing it next week, partnered with University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. We're officially sponsoring the Festiva show and connecting college students to their next track in life. If you want to do something in geek culture, we're going to find a way for you to learn how to do that. Instead of doing what I had to travel to New York and California and lose a lot of money and go into debt to do these internships that I really could have just done here if somebody had told me how.
That's fucking badass. Who else are you bringing by? I saw some good celebrity stuff being dropped.
Yeah, we're bringing Orlando Jones from American Gods.
Nice.
The Kyoto brothers, the creators of Killer Clowns from Outer Space. There's a lot of people I can't announce yet because I'm waiting for our big partner, Scholastic Book Fair. We're the only convention in the United States that is an official partner and sponsor with the Scholastic Book Fair. So as a grown-ass adult, you can go to the book fair at my show and buy your Hanging There
and buy a paperback Goosebumps book. There you go. I like it.
Yeah.
Buy those fucking cool calendars with the cars on it.
Hell yeah, bro.
I remember that shit. That's wild, man. Fuck, that's awesome. Dude, the Killer Clowns from Outer Space. So you're bringing in the directors?
The Kyoto brothers are the directors, special effects artists, writers, and creators of that world. Dude. So I'm bringing all three brothers.
Here, Brian likes the Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
I do, but I would just be a total asshole to them, like, because like some of those effects were just horrible. They were just even for that,
80s, man.
Even for back then, bro. Like some of them, but see, like that's what I love about that movie, and like it's so. Even back then, when I was watching the fucking movie, I like this is some wild shit, but I loved it. Like I love Killer Clowns.
I kind of feel like it was in that trauma trope kind of situation going on, also, right?
Yeah.
Trauma shit.
You know, and I will tell you, like we've met with those guys a couple times already, and they did a huge solid for the show. So John Massari is another guest we're bringing, which is the composer for the music for Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and the new video.
He did a great job. The music for that movie is fucking spot on, dude. Like that is fucking great.
At my show, we're contracting a huge circus tent that looks exactly like the one that was in the film
No
Creation.
way.
And John Massari is going to lead a 80-piece orchestra
Get the fuck out of
with
here.
professionals, including 25 high school students from the Rio Grande Valley, to play music from Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
That's
and
amazing.
In this project so much, I would have had to have paid MGM Studios for rights.
When is this?
February 20th to the 26th. It's next month.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
Brian, that sounds like Brian's interested.
Yeah,
Is it? Where is it again?
In Mission, Texas, here in the Valley. Yeah.
Okay, I've been to Mission. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Looks
so
like
shout
we're
out
not gonna
to
go to
him and
Applebee's
his
this
celebrities
time.
that believe in us. He called MGM Studios, told them that, hey, I'm doing this educational event. I need you to give them the rights to the music for free. And MGM came through. They sent us our contract. We have rights to play this music, which was originally going to cost us $70,000 to
Holy shit.
And John Massara gave them a call, said that I believe in this event and they need the rights, and they signed it over. We can perform that music.
Done.
Oh, that's amazing, dude.
Yeah,
That's
so
amazing. Congratulations.
It's wonderful. It's very exciting. It's very different for the Valley. And, shout out to guys like Ramsey Ramirez, who owns South Texas Comic Con, and Margaret Rivera, that holds PokeFest. Instead of seeing this type of show as competition for their events, they're showing support that it's something different, and they're excited to hang out. And Ramsey wants to go meet the Kyoto brothers also, and all that jazz. So I'm really appreciative.
I'm super excited, man. I mean, I think the event is really cool because it's just so different. Like, and I think the convention scene has been needing like this kind of like invigoration of like a different idea on how to approach it. And I think it's very spectacular. And I think it's great that the idea that you've chosen is to kind of like praise our authors and our writers and our artists from down here that don't get a lot of representation that way. And I think that's pretty good, man. Mike,
right now our show has 30 independent authors being showcased instead of me bringing a bunch of pop vendors. I mean, nothing against Funko Pops, but going to a convention and seeing 45 stalls selling the same Funko Pops is a bit frustrating.
Yep.
So we're showcasing independent authors that have day jobs and they have, 12 or 13 books published and what they're about. And all that. And
Vince in the comments asks anything about the cosplay contest?
You're going to freak out, Vince, because I believe on our Sunday, if I had the schedule correctly coming to my mind, we're going to have a Killer Clowns from Outer Space trivia and DJ party where John Massari will judge the cosplay contest with some cosplay guests that we're bringing in as well.
Badass, dude. Badass. I'm super excited, man. I can't wait. And Mike, what are the dates again? February 20th
to the 26th. You can buy tickets for our weekend purchases right now. Like I said, Monday through Friday are school field trips during the day. So those are only for the kiddos ranging from first grade all the way to high school. But we will have a college night. So if you're a college student, we're going to make a unique scenario where you can network with these celebrities and authors up close and personal. We'll have a bar open. We'll have a special Killer Clowns.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, man. Fuck yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
A bar, finger food, networking, meeting these celebrities up close and personal, and then you go to the rave afterwards.
Fucking A, Mike. Good job, man. Good job. Mike, I got to say, thank you so much for coming in, man. I appreciate you all the time. I know I hit you up really, really last minute, but I knew you were going to bring in some insight about that Dungeons and Dragons thing, so I needed to have you on. And, of course, I just want to bring you on all the time because you're always such an amazing person, dude. I always tell people, like, I never know how to, like, tell people that are a part of our group that I don't want to be like, hey, man, you're an average guy, because you're always, like, above the average, man. You always go above and beyond. So I appreciate you, man, and I hope everything's good. Thank you for coming on the show. Brian.
Sir.
Glad to have you back, my dude. I missed you. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're getting everything settled in your new place. Yes. Hope Jersey's treating you good. Hope work's treating you good. And the family's great. Guys, 2023 is looking up to be pretty good. I know it's already kind of popping off a little weird. It's already being that weird redheaded stepchild kid, but we're going to take advantage of this shit. We're going to grow this year. I want to say thank you to all our supporters out there. We appreciate every one of you. To our extraordinary listeners, we thank every one of you for tuning in, supporting us, guys. Don't forget to check us out on Google Podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, all the good stuff. Don't forget to support. Try to share it up. And guys, I can't say any more than that, but thank you very much. I appreciate every one of you. Brian, don't forget, what days can they catch you on Gym Class Majors?
Yes, so we record tomorrow, Gym Class Majors, and we usually have it up by either Monday or Tuesday. You can catch us on all DSPs, all digital platforms. You can catch us on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, anywhere we're there. Videos will be out on YouTube as well. Yeah, so shout out to my boy D, and come check us out.
All righty. I'll see you guys later. We'll catch you guys again here next Friday on The Average Boys. To our extraordinary listeners, thank you very much. See you again next Friday. Laters.
Peace.
Good night, guys.
You